Then my phone going down, the charging, but it's hot. So I started at 25, now it's at 20.
Put the charger in it, charge it. I can leave the charger in it while you're talking.
Good night, everyone. My name is Renison Jeffrey. This is the Workers' Rights Platform. We are broadcasting live on the Workers' Rights Network. I know I would have heard some talking in the background there. But what would have taken place, that was a little technical glitch that would have taken place. And tonight, we are about to start the show. There are a lot of people who was on the live prior. Good night to everyone. Mr. Riaz Rejab. Hot Titos, well, and Slimy, the man who always antagonizing a lot of people outside it. So tonight, the conversation is wrapped around a certain principle. And the principle is this. This 2025 general election. We all know that election have consequences in Trinidad and Tobago. Trinidad and Tobago stands at a crossroad. It's either we sit back and we take what we get, or we fight going forward in the future. And what we are fighting against: corruption, crime, the dilapidated systems that is presently in Trinidad and Tobago, and what we must do on April 28th. So before we go into this discussion here tonight, I am going to invite you to the panel of warriors that they have right behind. Some of them don't like the sharpening of the sword, but at the end of the day, that is how the thing does go. Miss Candace Edwards, good night.
And good night, everyone, and welcome to the Workers' Rights Platform. I am Candace Edwards. Tonight we want to say a word of prayer before we begin anything. We have to pray because the things that is taking place in this country, we need prayers, right? So just give me like a little 2 minutes to say a word of prayer, right? To invite the Holy Spirit to take over this platform and to lead us in the right direction so that we can reach out to the people, edify them, and give them a sense of consciousness so they too will know what is taking place and make the right decisions. So as I begin to pray, our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, as we forgive those who trespass against us, and lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from all evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever. Heavenly Father, tonight, Lord, I ask of you to bless us and intervene in our venture tonight, Lord. Father, Lord, you know our heart's desire, you know our minds, our intentions. And we ask of you, Lord, dear Lord, to take full control tonight over this program. Let it be fruitful. Let it be able to reach the minds and the hearts of the people of Trinidad and Tobago and environs, near, wide, and far, in the name of Jesus. Amen. So welcome to the Justice Advocate program, where we shine a light on human rights issues and give a voice to the voiceless. Tonight we have Mr. Lendel Williams. Did I pronounce your name, the first name, correctly?
Yes.
Right, and his alias is set on YouTube. Right, and then we also have Mr. Wayne Alonszo. We would have had him last week, and you will see him here quite very often from now on. He's joining us in this journey in edifying the people of Trinidad and Tobago about what is taking place in this country, to bring awareness so that we will know on before the 28th of April what should be their decision, because we need to understand what is taking place with us, right? And we all have to put one head together and press forward and fight for justice, fight for unity, fight to take back our country from the hands of the wicked. So I want to invite Mr. Williams Mr. Williams, I would have seen you on TikTok fighting for the same cause like myself. And for quite some time now, and I keep listening to you and I keep, sending you little comments and stuff. And then a couple of days ago, it would have dawned on me, you see, this gentleman, I think I need to reach out to him and invite him on this program. And I was really happy when I reached out to you and you decided to come on, because we, as I said before, we both share the same sentiments. We're fighting for change because the living conditions that this government has us living under, it is really, really bad. It is heart-rendering. And we need change, because forward ever, backward never. So, Mr. Williams, let me hear a little bit from you.
All right. So pleasant good night to all viewers, guests, hosts. I am Lendel Williams, alias SetB13. My main cause or motive right now is to try and unite the people of Trinidad and Tobago to get us to understand that we have been way too passive in reference of the politics which actually deals with the general conditions that we all live in on a day-to-day basis. We could point the blame and we could point the fingers and say, it's this party and it's that party. No party is perfect, none of us is perfect, and he without sin cast the first stone. But we should also take liability for not becoming involved in the matters and the affairs of our state by just electing a party for far too long and saying, well, they go make all the best decisions for us, and not understanding that we have to take a direct approach in engaging the governing bodies, right, to affect change in our interests, right? So that is really my motive and my drive. I have 2 young children. I have a big daughter, she's 13, she's going to secondary school. My son, he's in 2nd year. And really looking at the conditions that I face as a young man trying to provide for his family and the challenges to do so meaningfully, of the opinion that their future, my children's future, is in jeopardy. And it would be very strenuous for them to live right under the current pattern that we are seeing here of mismanagement, abuse of authority, total disregard for the rights of the people of Trinidad and Tobago, the manipulation of our constitution, the infringement on our democratic rights and democratic procedures. So for me, this, as I say again, this is my main drive, just to get individuals to understand that when we hit this reset button here and we elect the United National Congress and the Alliance, the Coalition for Interest, that is my personal perspective, that we have to stand behind this governing body and keep our eye on the ball every step of the way. We can't afford to sit back and wait for things to pile up and issues to pile up. From the jump, after the 28th, the 29th, we're supposed to be what we doing next, how we going about it, right? We didn't get these things done under the past administration. We need to fix these things. Roads need to pave, people need to have water, and we need to be on it immediately, not giving a chance for any lackadaisical type of behavior. We need to be aggressive about changing the conditions that we live in on a day-to-day basis, right? My personal political perspective is Progressive Empowerment Party, right, under Philip Alexander, and that's my personal choice. And I vote for PEP is I vote for the Coalition of Interests, and that's where I stand. And collectively, we coming together to make sure that we could get this malfunctioning governance out of power first, and then we will deal collectively with the issues and the conditions that we all face in Trinidad and Tobago.
Wow, you could not have said it better. You would have said what I would have said in a nutshell, boy. Oh God. I mean, just to say it in proper perspective, what is your age, brother? I mean, I heard you say, but what is your age? I mean, young people, as I say, it doesn't see them in politics at all. What is your age? I mean, where you had to tell the people, your peers, about making that bad decision come 2028. I mean, I know you say it, but let me hear it. I want to hear that emotion from you.
So, well, by the grace and mercy of the Almighty God. And this is really a cry, a warning, an alert to persons in my age bracket and even younger to get involved. Get involved. Do not tell yourself that if you don't vote, it don't matter because you still have to get up in the morning and go and work, and whether it's red or yellow or green or blue, whoever it is, you still have to do what you have to do. That is true. That is very true. But if you do not vote, you do not have a say in the conditions that are set for you, right? The climate, right? The things that you are afforded to do and how you are afforded to do it. That is a very important aspect of liberty, right?
No, I don't see a lot of people.
We can all see that.
I don't see a lot of people that attacking you on social media, telling you all kind of thing, cussing you all kind of thing. Do you not feel discouraged, a matter of fact? Do you not feel discouraged?
Discouraged, no. I tend to like it. I allow people to express themselves because that's their constitutional right, first and foremost, right? I am in a public space, so I give that leniency and understanding, right? I'm in a public space and they have the right to express themselves on what I'm saying, right? That also helps in reference of talking points, because sometimes I might be talking on one thing and then somebody in the comments saying something else, and it gives me an opportunity to expand on certain things, you know, and help bring clarity from my perspective, you know, and what I think personally should be the mindset, right? But
I
I'm not discouraged.
I must answer this next question, you know, because it's a common question, it's a commonality. They say is that people saying that he is a sellout. What you think about that statement? Because there are people saying that PNM belongs to we, and you saying something else. You telling them, boy, don't study PNM. What about the statement that they keep on saying that he is a sellout? What you think about that one? I'm sure you hear that. You're laughing.
I'm a sellout for my country, Trinidad and Tobago. And I would use politics as a catalyst to affect change. And who don't want to see it that way, and who want to play blind loyalty, and just because, you know, back in the days, a black man would have probably established a certain party and they want to go down the road, or their ancestors would have been voting for that every year. That's their choice. But I sell out for my country. I have two children that I personally need to make sure, or need to get up and make an attempt to create a better future for them and better conditions, better than what I am facing right now, which is pathetic, right? In 2025, the conditions that Trinidad and Tobago citizens are living under in a country with so rich in resources is pathetic, nothing less than that. For 48 years, we have had an administration, the PNM administration, that had mismanaged state agencies and enterprises, and still to this day, mismanaging state entities and agencies, enterprises and agencies, right? Taxpayers' money has to be bailing out enterprises every year in the form of grants, in the hundreds of millions of dollars. The same thing that went on in Caroni 1975, where they wanted to blame Patrick Manning for closing down Caroni 1975, but the mismanagement of that extended way before that. They wanted to talk about Basdio Pandey, and they find that he should have, prolonged the closure or done something better. But at the end of the day, Caroni 1975 was running into a deficit. And I think the last it was 300 and something million dollars in a deficit in one financial year. And who is to blame for that? The UNC has been in power twice in the history of Trinidad and Tobago. In 1995 to 2001, and from 2010 to 2015 on two separate occasions. Everything else was NAR for 5 years, and then after that, everything is attributed to the PNM, the People's National Movement. So whose fault is it really and truly when you look at the statistics and the ratio of mismanagement? PTSC to this day is still running into deficits, right? Unaccountability. Who is holding these managers and directors and executive staff of these agencies accountable for using taxpayers' money, not managing things properly, and having taxpayers burdening every financial year? And then they wanted come up and talk about, I'm a seller for my country. And that's what I'm about. So if people want to say, that I stand with PEP and is a Syrian and a this and them don't care about nobody, they could say all what they want to say, but the numbers don't lie, the statistics don't lie. And when you start to read and do your research, you're going to see the pattern of behavior, and it is exempted today.
So, I mean, from what you're saying there, my brother, is that you're speaking out on what you see, regardless to who in power. That basically what I hear you saying. And that is the same thing, ladies and gentlemen, that we have. That is why we have a lot of people here on this panel here tonight. Candice is the same thing. Wayne Alonszo is the same thing. He have age and he would have seen a lot, just like many of us here. And with that, without further ado, I put you on one time to the next person on the panel. And Wayne Alonszo, I know he is a man, a stalwart, a person inside this thing for a very long time. Wayne Alonszo.
Thanks, Renison. The fact that you identify that I have been here a long time, I want to use that experience to really commend the kind of courage that I hear coming out from Mr. Williams. Is it Williams?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes, it's Williams. Yes.
The age that you are at, Mr. Williams, if 29 years ago I had the courage to do what you're doing, and the thousands upon thousands of people who probably would have been supporting one party blindly and not being able to be bold enough to call a spade a spade, I think our politics would have been much more mature, much more progressive, much more modern than we are experiencing right now. It really took myself and many of us my age too long to wake up and smell the coffee. Not that we didn't know, not that we didn't see, not that we didn't hear, but you said something about when the question was asked about people attacking you as a sellout. Your response to that speak volume, because you put country before party affiliation. You put country before ethnic affiliation. And it's one of the problems that has kept us, that in itself is one of the noose that they continue to hold around our neck. Because if you're black, you must support the PNM. And if you're an Indian, you must support the UNC. Now, mind you, I don't know if you guys remember that the UNC has done the same thing to their own. You remember when, what's his name? The guy was the first minister of agriculture under Manning, this little East Indian boy from Chaguanas. I think he's still in the ministry. Or no, I think he came in when in 2015, as a matter of fact. And he was from Chaguanas. And when he joined the PNM, calls were made at a very high level of the UNC that he should return home. And that statement in itself spoke volume to the fact that some East Indians felt that an Indian shouldn't join the PNM. And so for us, you are not alone. I'm a sellout to a lot of people, my family, a lot of my friends. Candice would be a seller because we were all part of the PNM. But it took me so many years to stand with the kind of courage that you are displaying right now. That, like I said, I must commend you. It's very enviable, very admirable, and that is why I feel good that even though I may not live to see the change, I feel good to know that there are a few young patriots not waiting until they don't have the energy. I'm coming out of retirement. I don't know if I could last through 6 weeks of this pressure. I came to Trinidad on Monday and came back, Tuesday morning, and it took me almost 48 hours to recover, just sleeping, you know what I mean? So it needs that kind of energy, and it needs that enthusiasm and passion, So I'm really encouraged that you're not cowering, because I'm sure when you got into this, you expected those kind of pushback. But because you have a voice, and if more people like you with your age would use their voice to stand against, and listen, it's not unpatriotic, and it's nothing more than love for country, and sometimes even love for the very organization that you say you're supporting. Because if I see my organization going down a road that could cause them to be in the situation they're in now, somebody in the organization should have been alerting them. It's like, yo, let me ain't go down that road. Somebody should, I'm passing on this baton with the hope that the things that I failed to do, that my successor will be able to do it. But he didn't do that. What he did, he rehashed a whole lot of stuff that got us angry enough in 2015 that made us vote against Kamala Prasad Bisesa. He gave us enough reason, but he also promised to fix it. And we gave him full support to put him there. And what has he done with our support? Man, so it's gotten to a point where, like I keep using the adage, I came unto my own and my own received me not. So to them who receive us, we have to give the power for our vote. You see? Because it's not about affiliation through ethnicity. That is saving us. It's not affiliation because of my grandmother and my great-grandmother who tell us PNM till I die. That is saving us. It is policies that impact the lives of you and your children. And because you have seen the light and you look at your children and realize, would these policies give them a fighting chance when they get to the age where they need to be responsible? So you are seeing it. I wish my mother could have seen it. Maybe in the time that she was there, those conditions did not present themselves because we had different kinds of leaders under the PNM. We had men who were statesmen in nature, men who understood the need to put the priorities of people first. The first order that Eric Williams brought out was education. He understood to improve people's lives, you got to educate them. You see? When you look at Patrick Manning, the development of the city, wanting to bring back life into a city, creating programs and activities across the board for everybody. All those CPAP and those things came out of they understood the need to meet people where they are. But here we have a man who just does not understand the whole concept of human development. All this gentleman sees is business, and he think that the more business he could develop and a few rich businessmen, it augurs well for the majority, because that is what he said. He said in order to keep us working, he got to make the rich richer. He couldn't say, well, listen, we already have a bunch of rich people in the country, and my business is to make a few more rich people. But you're keeping the same set who is already rich and making them richer. But as you said, if you look at the evidence, you have the majority of us that are becoming poorer. Even though we're not getting richer, but we cannot boast and say we're on par with where we were. So that my condition 9 years ago, even though it did not get better, but it did not get worse. We are seeing worse. People are crumbling before our eyes. Mental health issues increase, vagrancy and homelessness increase, criminality increase, decadence among school children increase, drug use increase, teenage sexuality increase. So all the things that is causing communities to decay and bring a level of fear and uncertainty. When you're hearing about, innocent grandmothers, people just running in their homes, home invasion, these are people that we know.
Hello,
These
good
things
night.
are
Mr.
not
Alonso,
what we have been grown accustomed to. So we see that, and no one has addressed up to now.
we get our first caller for
Yes.
the night.
Hello.
Yes, good night.
Go
Good
ahead, Mr.
night.
Edison.
Yes, good night, caller.
Yes, I'm listening to the
Wonderful.
gentleman there where he's talking
Good
about
night.
Rowley when he made the statement that the rich must get richer. I don't know if you all know about the why the Chinese come into this country and the whole arrangement, because they come here to get richer. It's not only the 1%. I ain't really see the 1%ers getting richer, because they getting a lot of horrors right now with their businesses to get foreign exchange. I talking true talk?
Yes, yes,
Hello?
I mean, yes, yes. Yesterday I had a conversation concerning the geopolitics thing that taking place in Trinidad and Tobago. Yes, you are correct.
Okay. All right. So citizens of the country keep talking about these Chinese coming here and these Chinese setting up business all over the place. And it bothering people a lot. But the whole truth of the matter, this thing is, they don't know that there's an arrangement with the government where they 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 have an arrangement with these Chinese people where they sell them citizenship, the citizenship of this country, Trinidad and Tobago, other countries in the Caribbean. I would name another country that is Saint, Saint Lucia, the Bahamas. I don't know if you're familiar with that. Hello?
St. Lucia and the Bahamas. Yes, go ahead, caller.
Yes, I was asking if you know about these countries together with Trinidad and Tobago selling the citizenship of the country to foreign investors. Hello?
Yes, yes.
The citizenship by investment, like the CBI program, that is
Yes,
more
yes, that
applicable to
is what
some
I'm
Yes,
of
I'm
the
talking
here.
about.
Eastern Caribbean countries. And
Hello?
certainly St. Lucia is
Hello?
part of that,
The
Dominica,
madness
Antigua, and some
starts.
of those other countries.
The
I'm not
glitches
sure
and all of that
Trinidad is
As
part
well
starts.
of
as
that arrangement.
Grenada, Trinidad and Tobago, Antigua and Barbuda. Now, right now, these countries, as you know, I would believe you know, they have a list where countries in the Caribbean have at least 60 days to get the act together. But so far, they're more stressing on the foreign, the not foreign, the Cuban doctors. So this, what I want to say is, this whole thing reach a whole geopolitical issue right now, right? So this rich, I want to get back to the part where the rich getting richer. This part where he said the rich must get richer is where he wanted these people to come in the country to invest. so the locals will get jobs. You understand? This is why these Chinese here to put businesses all over so that the poor will get jobs. That is how they get an income for the country, by selling out everything we have. They wasn't telling us anything but the United States talking now. So where this Chinese man going into government, it will be difficult for him with the geopolitics. Today I see he decided to have the Commonwealth observers come. They're going to be writing. We don't know if they will reach here in time, as well as the Carter Center to come to observe the elections with CARICOM heads, the CARICOM countries. So we will wait and see if they will make it in time, but he will at least say, look, I brought them so that we could have free and fair elections. And this is why he decided to do that. I know that because of the geopolitics I did study. So this is what I want to say for tonight, and have a good night.
Yes, thank you, Kola. So Candice, I mean, we wasn't hearing it just a while back, Candice.
Yeah, it just the live just cut off like that. I don't know, and I don't know what happened. So I said they probably start with a glitch. Hello?
Yes, we are hearing you loud and clear.
Right. So I am back on.
Right. So
Right.
Mr. Alonszo was finishing up his his introduction. So Mr. Alonszo.
Yeah, well, I think my introduction really was to commend Mr. Williams and to tell him that, I really admire the fact that where I have reached in my deliberation at this old age in my life, he is there. So, I'm really happy. I'm talking to even one of my nieces, and she is there also. So it's very excitable that if we can create a platform or more platforms like this, and maybe let me take an idea and put it on the table right now. Maybe this is what we need to do, to have a platform of bloggers. Create a platform, Mr. Renison, where people like Mr. Williams, more people like Mr. Williams, younger people can now come in a space where we can have more.
Well, we would have started that, in the earlies, we would have started that. We had one or two of them. I can remember that one of the guys that stand out is Mr. McGeevo, a young guy. He was just out of high school, I think, or one of those college, and Mr. Renson would have contacted him, or myself, I don't know which one of us, and he came on and he had quite a lot to say, and he was very, very impressive. And I thought about getting him again, I just, and find the time to reach out to him, But he is always willing, because we do send each other messages from time to time, right? And, I must say, Mr. Williams, I'm really happy to have you on here tonight, because a lot of young people, their minds, they're lost. And I believe when the young people see a young man like, a young person like themselves, getting themselves intertwined with what's taking place in the country, they will stop to listen, because it's somebody their age group, because 37, you're still quite young. You understand me? And as you say, when people, come on your live and they tell you it's a sellout and all of that, and I like your approach towards that, because at first when people started to come at me, I used to get angry and answer them back. But now I stop at that, because you know why? The wheat and the tears had to grow together, right? So I don't take them on. But let me tell you something. I don't consider myself to be a sellout, right? Because likewise, Mr. Alonszo, I was a diehard PNM. You couldn't tell me nothing about the UNC or any other party, right? And based on situations that would have taken place with me, and I would have reached out to my government, the government who I know from a child, before I could even vote. We making will sign, and when the PNM passing, we waving it by the road. And when I was able to vote, I decided I am going to do just like what my mom and dad doing, voting for the PNM, right? And until they would have disappointed me and my family, I decided to walk across, even before the opposition leader decided to help me with my situation. I decided enough is enough, because you can't have a government in power, right? We put them there to seek the interests of we the people, and they keep continuing to put the party before the people. And I would have made a stand and say enough is enough. This is where it ends. So I don't consider myself to be a sellout. And it's about time people start to think. It's about time people start to realize what is taking place in this country, right? Because instead of we go uphill, we are going downhill. And the government of the day, they're showing you frank, open blank, they don't really care about us. It's a set of insults, a set of neglect. And they actually show you they fix their business. They fix their business before they fix us. So if you voted for a government all your life, and because listen to me, they are aware of the conditions of the citizens in Trinidad and Tobago, what we are facing, and they are aware of everything. And they still keep turning a blind eye. Right? Because I was upset when I heard the Prime Minister say, who live, and who dead, and the rich have to get richer for the poor to survive. The lady came and she do her side of explanation. Well, this platform is for everybody to voice their opinion. We can't tell nobody no, it's not so, and yes, it's so. It's freedom of speech, right? But I am saying everybody have eyes to see what is going on. You don't have to be a scholar to notice, because all kind of crime taking place, and the Prime Minister stand on national TV and in many instances, especially the ex-commissioner, and said that we do not have a serious crime problem. And we actually seen that the murders are taking place every day. You're not even safe in your house anymore. And it's always some kind of bacchanal, some kind of confusion amongst themselves. People looking on. And when they reach the state where you can't even afford to buy food to put in your house, you know the country in trouble. Right? So for the ones who decide, as they say, to sell out, welcome to all my sellouts, brothers and sisters. Come on across on our side. Welcome, Mr. Williams. You understand what I'm saying? So don't let nobody try to deter you from making your decisions. You are a young man and you have a bright future. And I am so happy to have you on this program here tonight. And you know, this morning I made a live, right, on TikTok. And I get up and I started saying to myself, look at what's going on in this country. Everything this government do is always some kind of strategy. I make the live and I throw it up. And later on in the morning, Mr. Wayne and I were having a conversation. And it was based on the same thing I would have said on TikTok. You understand? And a lot of people came on, and they too would have made their contributions on TikTok. So you see this program that we do in here, and the little TikTok you making and I making and other people making, whether they like it or not, people are starting to pay attention. Because we cannot continue to live under this kind of condition. Right? So I would like everybody to share the live, and the lines is open. You can call in and voice your opinions, because this is what, and we have a lot of shows like this to come. We have a lot of shows like this to come because somebody had to educate the people. So, Mr. Williams, tonight is not your only night coming on, eh? We're going to bring you back on at a later date, because I know you have plenty more to say. Because I just watch you on TikTok, I tell you, and you impress me. You touch my heart. Because you're a young man, you're doing your business, and you're making your life. And I will watch some of the comments. People will say negativity, they will say good, but they're not letting it stop here. And you are somebody just like me. They try to bring me down all how they use a whole platform on the Iowa George station with Pastor Google to bring me down. And I didn't let that stop me, because I know the truth. I am not deaf, I am not dumb, I am not stupid, I am not blind. The truth is there, it is out there, and it's bold. So what you gonna do? Sit down and say, well, I just say go vote.
And you see, Candace, you know something? this platform here, I mean, is a voice for the thousands of you that are outside here that are listening. Because at the end of the day, the reason why I go down this particular road with the guest, a matter of fact, I was trying to call him by his TikTok name. So, Mr. Williams, the reason why I went down this road with Williams was this. I grew up in a PNM area. My uncle was a minister. My father, my mother, PNM, my sister, my brother, my aunt, my uncle, my grandfather, my great-grandfather, and all was PNM. Because he come from Grenada. And the PNM at that point in time would have opened up the borders and allowed a lot of Grenadians to come into Trinidad. So my whole family is grateful of the PNM, a matter of fact. But to make a stand in a particular direction, in the direction that I am taking now, is a stand of one of consciousness, of eye-opener. When I look around and I see the sufferings of the people in my district, including myself, and when I go to the elders and them and I say, boy, this thing not working on the PNM, and they're making me believe, hey, hold on, yeah, I mean, things go get better, it's the economy. So when at the end of the day, things are going wrong and PNM is doing stupidness from back then straight till now, they are saying it's the economy and it's not the party, so they're always taking the blame away from the party. And they are not seeing themselves as the one within the position to pilot the country within a particular direction. They are always blaming themselves. Boy, you're too stupid, you ain't believe in your black brother. But not knowing at the end of the day that us believing in them is the first mistake that we are making. That is the first mistake. Because at the end of the day, we had to learn where to swing the sword. We must know who is our true enemy. And the one that is chastising us is the enemy. And the second mistake, I talk about the first, that have been, again, some technical glitch on this side here. I feel the program sticking there, you know. Right. So the people within this area have been abused by some of these ministers and them. And what I am saying concerning that is that the amount of young girls would have lost their dignity because they believe in the government, a matter of fact. They believe in the representative. They believe that they are the ones that would take them out of the crisis that they are in, and they turn their back and not examine their ways and not knowing at the end of the day a man is just a man. And over the years they would have taken our kindness for weakness, and they continue to do it. And with this shuffle of ministers that they have here, it's the same ministers, you know, they just shuffle them around. Because Camille Robinson Regis was always there, Fitzgerald Hines was always there, Marvin Gonzalez here, he's a Johnny come lately, and all the rest, they just shift them around. Faris Al-Rari is now the local, the minister, local government. And at the end of the day, he was Attorney General, messing up the scene in a big way. And we are still seeing them, and all they do is just reshuffle the deck. They change the office, but they is the same. We would have experienced them. What we would have seen is the heart of these individuals. And what I am appealing to, and the many of you that are outside there within the public domain, is to think logically. Let me put facts on the table. What working for us outside here? What working for us? Is our present situation working for us? Oil boom after oil boom. They shut down the gentleman with Mr. Williams and now talk about Caroni. That shut down. petrochin shut down. The agricultural system in Trinidad and Tobago is in a total mess. And we have sunshine and rain in Trinidad, something that all the other continents is begging for. There are people that can't come outside certain times of the year because of snow. And we have sunlight and rain right through. We are surrounded by the sea. And yet still, we is not a producing nation in terms of where agriculture is concerned. And now I am concerned with this election that is taking place here in Trinidad and Tobago, to the point that it need observers, foreign observers, because I do not trust this government. I do not trust this PNM. I do not trust this Keith Rowley led government. You just fling a prime minister on us. Where the hell you ever see that in the history of Trinidad and Tobago? You can't wait another day. The next, watch me. This is a well-orchestrated game and musical chairs. Keith Christopher Rowley would have resigned today. The next day, this man would have called election. He give them a little rest. 48 hours after he dissolved parliament and he called election. What really going on here in Trinidad?
Spoke about that in my life. I call it changing faces. Now, although Rowley is not there, he would have stepped down, allegedly. He put Stuart Young, but Stuart Young still has to answer to Mr. Rowley. Because Rowley knows a fact, he messed up the place, he messed up the country, and the people don't want him. You see the conscious-minded, level-headed people, they don't want him. Because he knows what he did to us, right? So he stepped down, and by that, all this time he grooming Stuart Young, because if you notice, the same mentality Rowley has, Stuart Young has it too, right? And as Stuart Young take over, boom, a couple of days after, they call a snap election. It's a strategy again. These people continue to play with our lives, like it's some game. And as I always say, they're not interested in money, because they have that. You see, power, party, and power to rule, divide, and conquer. That is what they're doing. And when they see the blame hit them, as I said before, they just divert it. And as Seth would have said, how much years Kamala them was in power? How much years the NIR was in power? Look at that. Since I know myself, it's the PNM. And I always believed that the PNM was doing good for the country. But it's after when I come to consciousness and I started to go back in my mind and I started thinking, I said, but wait now. Under this PNM government, the place that's be hard. You had to protest for your back pay. It's always something with them, and they always come in with some reason why they cannot do this, they cannot do that for the citizens. It's always some reason, And they have a strategy. You see, whenever, like the last election, when they would have take over from Kamala and them, here the strategy they use. The treasury empty. It have no money in the treasury. No money in the treasury. And a couple months after, they find how much billions to do this, to build that highway, to do this and to do that. But you just say it had no money in the treasury. Now they will say the opposition leaders and they are thieves. I never see them thieving. I hear so. Probably they must be thief in the open and they get catch over, although nobody never make a jail yet. But yet we have how much billions of dollars missing under the PNM government that they cannot give account for. And I just tell people, I say, let me tell you something. Government come, government when go, everybody go thief. But nobody can thief like the PNM government. They're just thief smart. And these people, they're so verse and they brass face, bold face with it. They don't care and they don't want you to ask no questions. And we, the citizens, can't ask no questions. You have to just take that and cool it, digest that and dice it. Because they're saying that the country have no money, tough days ahead, tighten your belt. And look what Rowley did. Every one of these ministers are raising salary, are back pay. So why is these citizens of Trinidad and Tobago hungry? We can't even afford to buy groceries, but they make sure they fill their pockets and they leave. You leave as a prime minister, you fill your pockets and you leave your country, your people, your citizens hungry.
But Candace, at the end of the day, I mean, come on, set our money. You understand, my boy Williams are money. Alonszo are money. Them could see about themselves, man. They come on now, man. These men and them, they loaded. These men and them could handle the scene. You understand? I'm Williams, tell me about all this money that you have and thing, because you have money, you could see about yourself.
That's a joke, yes. Me and no money as a young entrepreneur. You know, as a young entrepreneur, I trying with a small business selling pies, make my own juices. I buy pies wholesale and sell it retail. I talk in my business here to some extent. I don't really make anything off my juices. I really try with the citizens because I understand the climate and the conditions of the country, and money hard. Money is hard, right? And Dr. Keith Rowley said tighten your belt, but that only applied to the citizens. They did nothing, take no pay cuts, said they take a raise, you understand? And we still tightening we belt. But I tend to try to change in my life now. You know, I tighten my belt, and I know my fellow brothers and sisters and citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, money hard and things hard, and I working with them until better could be done. You know what I mean? What will make me different from the capitalists if I say, you know, $6 for my juice and $10 for a pie, and me care about your pocket? I had to make sure that you have $1 in your pocket tomorrow, that, you know, even if it's twice for the week or 3 times for the week, you could patronize with my business, you know? And that's just the general condition right now. The place is hard. It's paycheck to paycheck. I renting. I had 2 children to see about, you know, and I catching my backside. Want to have a better expression, but you know what I mean? I trying to keep my head above water and, you know, just advocate for change. Right? I want to just say one thing again, right? I would have watched Dr. Keith Rowley in his interview with the 3 reporters in the White Hall. And he made one statement that summed it up for me out of the whole interview, where he said that there are a lot of systems that are unproductive, and those systems protect a certain type of people, and the people that they protect are well protected. And I just went a little off in what I was saying, but that is exactly what it is he said. Right? A lot of unproductive systems exist in the administration, and they protect a lot of people, and the people that they protect are well protected. And I'm saying he has been there for 9 years, saw and functioned as the leader in the administration with unproductive systems that protect a certain type of people, and telling us, or telling me as I am listening, that they are well protected. I don't know about anybody else, but that for me said a lot about him as an individual, that you would have seen these things and not even call out to the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago for social support in reference of throwing out old policies and creating new ones, amending constitution, or whatever it is that it takes to eradicate certain unproductive systems that protect people that don't deserve to be protected.
Boy, right? You're preaching. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Yeah, so that's just one aspect of it. And this whole Stuart Young situation, being prime minister and all of these things, for me, from my perspective, are just distractions. I have been preaching for the longest while that PNM has already done a major general census and understand that the growls and the rants of the people, and they know for a fact that people swing. They don't come off of that train already. They understand that, but it's a big show right now, and it's just distractions to keep our mind occupied on other things except the unaccountability for our taxpayers' money. That $2.6 billion understatement and discrepancies, the $461 million in cost overruns in the Tobago airport, the $11.4 million that Mrs. Camille Robinson Regis would have said that people was double dipping under the COVID, that Dr. Keith Rowley stood up in the parliament and said that the Integrity Commission is looking into it urgently, and nothing. I didn't even hear anything about that. That was a time that I was in the construction sector. We was the last sector to close, and I had nothing. And I was renting with 2 children and a wife to see about. You understand? And I get nothing I got. You know, and I could have really, that $11.4 million could have trickled down somewhere along the line to assist some way, right? And it's just a lot of mismanagement and a lot of unaccountability, right? And the evidence is just there. If you're looking and you're listening, you're going to hear and you're going to see that it's just not adding up.
At all.
It's just not adding up.
No, it's not.
And you see, listen to the disrespect of this government. They are so disrespectful that they're passing wrong by your houses, by your work, the putting up posters. I see Young going all through Lavantil, and at the end of the day, he would have reached Sandy Grande. He would have ended up in the Rojo Road, and he was stopped by a lady, by a fighter, by someone that was concerned for the people within her district. She right there on the panel, and you know what he do? He touch the representative for the area and say, "Boy, let me walk." You know what that is? Many of you trying to use euphemisms to say, you know, he didn't really want to talk about that. He's not supposed to talk about she. He's not the minister arts and culture and all them and youth development and them kind of thing. But he's the representative for the area. We are seeing a government that, I mean, I listened to the press conference today. You know. Stuart Young is very dismissive concerning direct questions. He learned how to deflect questions. Instead of he say, Roger, I've been there, you know, this is what the program we have for the youths. He said Roger would have been talking about that. That is for him to form an opinion. That is what he do there. He gave Roger a chance to think. But the man, the Roger himself, people would have been talking about that he don't have that kind of acumen. So Roger, his brain shut down right there on the spot, and he had no other choice than to walk away. That is what went on there with Roger. Because the leader would have realized, wait now, Roger can't think. So the leader and all know that he not up there right up. So why Pobaka Mande in Sandy Grande? Why? Why Pobaka Mande? Why Pobaka? Well, we didn't say Papa Stuart Young Day. But why have only the slightest inclination to Pobaka Mande? That is dismissive. Every time he get a chance, he dismissive. Man, Alonszo, I realize Alonszo very quiet in the background. I mean, he's a man strategic with what he's saying too at the same time. But boy, now talk about the $1 million that he have. Alonszo comfortable. He comfortable, Alonszo comfortable. He have a big mansion. Alonszo tell me one time, you know. Let me know.
Also tell them that you're being funny right now, right? Because I'm drinking coffee and I can't even put milk in it. So please, straight black. A little bit of sugar. Right? But I wanted to add to what Mr. Williams was saying, in terms of that spend that could have trickled down. And let's use this recent issue with the Auditor General, where the Minister of Finance, which is her boss, she has to report to him. It is all under his ministry. In the interest of the public purse and every citizen of Trinidad and Tobago, is saying to him, listen, there is some shortfall in the accounting and I need to get more information. And instead of him trying to work with her, what does he do? He challenges her in the court, to stop pursuing whatever information she was pursuing. What happens now is that we, the citizen, has to send lawyers to England to defend the minister against a complaint by his own employee. Now, I mean, how more ridiculous could it get? So this is another set of millions of dollars. Whatever the motive was, to deflect, to postpone, to prolong, whatever was going on. And, I'm hearing only recently that this release of her report should be now open to the public in Parliament for debate around the same time that the election was called. So now that the Parliament is prorogued, it means therefore nobody ain't hearing about that report until probably after the election. You see? So probably there are some things in there that could even show them up and expose some of their own shortcomings and limitations. So you talk about the spend, and there's so much millions of dollars. One of the things that I always refer to is that highway in Curepe interchange, where in 2013, thereabout, 2012, when that project was really going to get kicked off, the Minister of Works at the time was Suraj Rambachan. And there was the arrangement with the Chinese who had the technology to build that interchange very quickly for us. And I think the sum that was being touted at the time in the budget was over $500 billion to do this interchange, TT dollars. Well, they never got it done, and the PNM won the election in 2015. And that was the first major project under the PNM where they were able to revise that contract and bring it down to 270 something million or thereabout. I stand to be corrected. But I remember in the contract where it was stated by the Prime Minister that we are not going to allow them to leave Trinidad with the bag of money. So they asked them to insert in the contract that there would be local contractors that should be subcontracted for the building of that highway. Who were those local contractors? It's our big name headline contractors, the Junior Sammy and the Kusal. I was happy with that decision, right? You can't bring in these foreigners to take all the money because we do have skilled people here locally. Okay, let's fast forward that to the highway that he's now talking about building to Toko, a $5 billion project. This is what they touted back in 2015. And who was the headline contract? Let's say parallel to the Chinese with the Curepe interchange. The headline contractors were the same Junior Sammy and Kusals and those guys, right? Now you're coming into a constituency that is one of, if not the poorest constituency in the country. And so, do you need an act of parliament? Do you need constitutional reform? You didn't do that with the Chinese. It was a decision that you as the employer made through the agency that is doing it, whether it's the Ministry of Works or whether it's UDCOT or whoever has that project. You give them that instructions. You are the employer. You are the minister of everything. You are the prime minister. You could call the big man in UDCOT or the ministry and say, hey, insert that in the contract. That is a cabinet decision. In the same way, could you not have done the same for the poor people in Toko Sangre Grande by telling the Kusals and the Junior Sammies that this set of money we're giving all you to work in that constituency, you're going to reserve 10 or 15 or 20% of the total contract to be given to local contractors so that young contractors, skilled masons and carpenters and box drain builders could now engage people within their own community and give them jobs so that the contractor could feel a sense of accomplishment that after he probably get a little 100-meter box drain at $100 a meter, he makes $1 million. And if he excise $250,000 in material and he excise another 300, $250,000 in material, he excise another $300,000 in salary, he can walk away with a cool $200,000 to $300,000. Enough money that he can probably finish his house, buy a TV for his grandmother or his mom's, fix a bathroom, do over his roof, send his children to school, you know? But what happens is that because they understand that the PNM people talk in the collectives, well, is we build that road, you're building a road with somebody from outside the constituency, but when you leave with the bag of money, the constituents remain poor. They are the ones that continue to suffer. The road is not putting bread on their table, you see? So that it is so easy that through simple policies that doesn't require a majority to decide on it in parliament or constitutional reform, a simple decision using the same set of money. All it required was care for your people. If you put that as the priority for your decisions, then you could have gotten the same thing, the same road, the same contractor, everybody happy. And this is why I keep using the term. He could have gotten them and keep them rich, but you want to get them richer while the poor is getting poorer. While we could have gotten them rich because they got the big contract. All they would have had to do is to subside a small portion of that wealth and trickle some down in the same community, and everybody's happy. You give 10 contractors 100-meter box drain, and each one hired 10 of his neighbors or friends or family. You just employed 110 people. That is a wonderful thing for families and children and the community. Homes will look better. The more business can go up because a guy could open a grocery and one can open a restaurant and one could open a pool room and a nice sports bar so that a fella don't have to leave his little comfort to go out in the junction and get himself in trouble. He can have activities right within his space. And that is how communities are built. Communities are built when resources come in. But resources can only be had when you empower the members of that community with the economics of the country. We have the money, but it is the distribution of the wealth that is centered around just a minute of the citizens of Trinidad. So when they talk about all these macro projects to the benefit of the people of Trinidad and Tobago, we always have to ask the question, list those people. Let us know who those people are that you're talking about, Mr. Young, Dr. Rowley. You see? So when you boast about Point Lisas and you monetize the oil and gas through Point Lisa to the interest of the people of Trinidad and Tobago, call Mr. Kiza from Labre, who is the OWTU representative going up for UNC. He knows. He'll understand the people that Rowley and them talking about. And he will say to you, the people who are providing the goods and services in Point Lisas, none of them look like us. The very people who put Rowley and them there to manage the affairs of our resource. Every penny that comes out of the ground, you divided by 1.4 million people, we are all deserving of that money. And I don't need it in cash all the time, but oh gosh, enhance my quality of life now. Look at that mother who is having a problem with her children and find intervention programs now. You understand? There are so many simple things that they can use money. And let me tell you, when you start dealing with issues of the heart, the cost is not as exorbitant. When you see the kind of money this country spends on very basic stuff, there is no need to be applying all these millions upon millions of dollars to very simple projects. There are a number of projects that could be done through the self-help program. There are communities who will say, listen, we have people here, just give us the material. All we want is our road fixed. Don't wait for 4.5 years, because by the time you election comes and you now say you're coming to fix the road, it's because I done change 8 tires. My front end's gone, because the amount of potholes I had to go through. So the money that I needed to help my child to get a little after school program, I had to fix the car because I need the car to take her to school. So I don't know how to juggle. Take the money to fix the car so she can get to school, or take the money for her to go to school and I don't have use to the car. And these are the kind of backyard decisions that families are struggling with. Page, as you rightly identify, Mr. Williams, living paycheck. And these are the things that, the people who are opposed to this conversation, the people who are opposed to the courage that we are displaying, I don't know if they're living under a rock, because in addition, with the exception of Smiley, who is so, lost in terms of what we are talking about and just want to be an antagonist. The people
Mr.
who are
Smiley
here in this country, the people who are here in this country that is seeing the result, they're knowing, they are hearing, they are reading about the plight of the ordinary citizens. And when you look at some of the intervention that they're asking for, it's not costing millions of dollars. Sometimes it is just a material a man wants to fix a hole in the roof. Sometimes it's just an extension cord from a neighbor so that the child could stay up later to do their homework. It's a much. People are not asking for the millions of dollars like you're giving them to the big contractors. We just want to feel a sense of belonging and accomplishment for being in this wealthy country. Because as we drive and we waiting and flagging buses and maxis, we are seeing Mercedes-Benz and Porsches just driving us by, vush, vush, by people who was like you just 2 months ago or 2 years ago. So how did they get there and I can't get there? What are they doing in my own country? People coming from outside, they're coming from behind the line and just bypassing you because why? Their cousin or the minister. So he get the call and he get the work and he get the job and he get the contract. One person constantly. And all it requires is an attitude of care. You see, let me tell you one of the strategies that they have done to us. They don't put us as the reason. They create the policy so that they can get the money out of the treasury so somebody gets their hand on it. So, for example, when I bought a house through the Housing Development Corporation, my house was $275,000. That same house now is selling for $1.2 million. As a matter of fact, when I look at what they're selling for $1.2 million, it's not half of what I paid for $275,000, because the houses that you pay in 1-point-something million is unfinished. No cabinets, no tiles, no, just a basic unit that you're getting now. Now, what have they done? HDC is designed to build low-cost housing so that more low-income people can have a decent quality life. What has the government done? Public-private partnership, where they give the land and they bring in their investor friends to build the houses at the same cost that they were selling at $275,000 for. What is the price of that house? 1.2 million. When you go to the bank to qualify for that kind of loan, your income, because they're looking at 30% of your gross income. But we don't spend our gross, we spend our net income. So if you take 30% of your net income, it means therefore you would not be able, after you get the house, you wouldn't be able to put food on the table. It's just too much. $1.2 million has surpassed us. Most of us in this country. How do you go to a CPAP worker who's getting $750 a fortnight and tell them they have a mortgage of $4,000? You know, so these are the simple policies that does not meet our needs. But what happened is that they wait for 4.5 years. They make us squat. They make us bathe in rainwater. They make us have to study under flambeau. And at the last minute, they come and they say, okay, we're going to run some lights for you this time. And then, okay, so you get the light, but you ain't have no data because they ain't run the water yet. So they say, well, hold on, we come in. And they are, according to Candice, they are playing with people's lives. And the reason for that is because they want to keep you at a level constantly depending on them. It is their strategy to keep us one paycheck away from being broke.
And that is something they have been doing throughout the years. And it's about time people start to catch on to them and this madness, you know. They're starving you throughout the years. Yeah. And coming close to election, that is the time they want to throw corn for you. And you see that box drain thing? They would give all the contracts to foreigners and to this one and to that one. And coming close to election, they were looking for these small contractors, and they go give you a little 3 months, a little 6 months. And after that, that is the end of it.
10 days, Candice. 10 days.
10 days can't do nothing for nobody. How much is that? How much is that 10 days salary? Can somebody tell me? How much is that 10 days salary? I don't even know. And you know, some people they get
$750. I was told
$750, and you know there are people. The majority are poor people. You know, some of them living on that, and they make themselves comfortable. And throughout the years, they're not even getting it regular, and they're depending on it. And they're wondering what we go do if that's what the government have to offer. The government has much more to offer. They have much more to offer, but then here what's going on. The much more they have to offer is for the friend and the family. And it have naive people. I don't know, some people, I don't know, like they beat them with a dirty stick or they head under a rock. Because you seen what's going on and some people still going down die hard. Great is the PNM, you know. So how much suffering you all could endure? You're dragging, you're dying, you're suffering, and all they still want to hold on. Well, I don't understand, and I don't know what Trinidadians want again. Now, let me just stop a bit. Now, Seth, and I know you said you wanted to leave at 8:30, right? So if you want, you can make your exit, take a say good night, because I don't want to keep you on too long because I know you're overstayed. You're welcome. When I look at the time, it's 8:51. If you want to stay on, you are welcome to stay. But if you want to make your exit, you are also welcome. I don't want to overdo because it's the first time I have you, and I would like to have you again because we need young minds like you.
I know. I said I wanted to leave 7:30. Some other obligations to deal with the family. You know, but this conversation has been really interesting. It's a really nice panel. I like listening. I enjoy listening, especially to intelligent conversation, unbiased conversations, things that are healthy for production and for growth and for progress. You know, so that's why I'm still here. So yeah, I've been listening, and I could agree with everything that is being said. We share the same sentiments and thought processing and agenda. And it's just about country first and the betterment of each and every citizen. And that so much more can be done, you know? So I would take my leave if not I will stay for the whole program.
But you're always welcome. You see, I don't
Appreciate,
want to keep you
appreciate
way
the
past your
presence.
time,
Appreciate
although
the
I would like to
presence.
have you. But you know, I understand you have your commitments, and I will call you again. I'll call you like a couple of days before so that you can get yourself organized. So we will do it again. And I want to tell you thank you very much, for coming on with us and sharing your views and your ideas. And apart from the negative comments that you have been getting on TikTok, I like how you're handling it. I love how you're handling it because let me tell you, a lot of people naive, And have a lot of people with narrow minds. They're suffering, you're dying, your tongue white in your mouth until it's hanging out, they're dragging, and they're still holding on to the balize. You know when they go feel it?
Yeah.
When they are start to eat the balize. Big time. Right? So you can make your exit now, and we will chat sometime again. Thank you very much, Mr. Williams.
Pleasant good night to the panel. Thanks for having me. I really enjoyed the session. I wish everybody the best until we meet again.
All right. Have a pleasant night.
Be encouraged, my man. Be encouraged. I look forward to seeing you again.
Right, Trinidad
All right?
and Tobago. Now, you see, let me tell you something, It's no big secret. You see what's going on in the country. And it doesn't cease to amaze me how some people just come on here with their negative energies. Money is going missing in the treasury. The government cannot give accounts. Cannot give account for the monies. One minute the commissioner saying that we do not have a serious crime problem, but on the news, you're seeing, well, the local news, the TikTok and then the Facebook and these places, we're seeing the real news, how much murders. You're getting a listing of how much murders within the years, and they're still watching in your face and telling you you're going mad. We don't have all that sort of crime, but the statistics is not lying. You understand me? 1 minute the Prime Minister jump up and he say, the police are afraid for their lives. Well, once they say the police are afraid for their lives, you know what's going on. Well, then Trinidad need to deal with, then he had to bring in the army. It's a whole set of mixed signals, and it have people on here, they still, I don't understand. I do not understand what is really going on. So what do they want to wake up and smell the roses? What are they waiting on? All right, even some of them don't want to vote for the UNC, even some of them don't want to vote for the UNC, because if I feel in the pressure, and many other people saying they're feeling the pressure, so what happened? You, the undecided, you, the PNMites, all they're feeling the pressure too. But then something got to be wrong. Something got to be wrong, and then all they need to share the information that all they have with us so that we will know how to continue to live like all they under the pressure, because I don't know. It reached this stage now. It's only shame some people have shame that they start begging. The grocery going sky high every month. Grocery bills is sky high. Don't talk about materials to build houses. People can't even afford to build a house. Long time you can build a house, you buy all the material and rest it down and need the sand and the cement and whatever for the last. No, you can't even afford to do that. All you're hearing is tighten your belt. When the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago raise some sort of concern, they want to ask a question, they're crying out, you just shutting down the people. And they just want to force down because people say people don't want the PNM. They don't want the PNM. And the PNM is who would have given us the reason to not want them. And by their behavior, that bully mentality, it's the PNM who making the PNM look bad all on their own. But because they know we Trinidadians, and I'm saying we Trinidadians, some of us, we so hell-bent on studying race. They fling the blame, the normal strategy, on the UNC. But how long the UNC in power? From the PNM. The PNM in power for 9+ years. So the monies that gone missing, the UNC. All them schools that they leave, vandalized, monies was given, allocated, and given to the people who dealing with those schools and them. Monies were given out, and the school and them like no roof, no windows, no doors, no nothing. It vandalized. Pipers living in the schools and them. They don't have the children and them don't have proper desks to sit down by, not even chairs. And all they still want to continue to vote for this government. Or they still want to continue to vote for it. And then have people coming on here. Well, I notice it have at least about 2 or 3 people coming on here with their negativity. But you know what I want to say to these people? Your negativity is just giving us the energy and the strength to do what we're doing. And we ain't going to stop. We ain't going to stop. We're fighting right down until we lie down. You know why? The PNM government only continuing to put the party before the people. And we are met with a lot of disrespect right through. Look at a simple question I just asked them. A simple question. What do you have in store for the youths of Northeastern Settlement? That is all I asked. I didn't go to the man with no kind of attitude because I ain't so foolish to go into a crowd with a set of people, a set of PNM, and of course they would have known by now I am not a PNM, and look to oppose the minister, I will again be down. I didn't do that. But because Stuart Young is well trained by Mr. Keith Christopher Rowley, he picked up some of his attitude and he just decided to move along. So follow suit. It's about time people need to wake up. People have to wake up. People have to wake up. Forget the negative ones. Forget the negativity and the old talk and think for yourself. Everybody have a brain in the head. Sense was made before book. Ask yourself, examine yourself, is how I want my life to be? Then ask yourself, if this is the condition that I am living under, what is going to happen to my future generation? Your children and your grandchildren and your children. Ask yourself that question, Trinidad and Tobago. It's no secret. Everybody know what is taking place in the country.
And you know, interestingly,
so that everybody, the level-headed ones, we lying on the PNM. So the country I had, you know, first they say, well, it had all over the place. Well, it harder in Trinidad. It's harder in Trinidad and Tobago. You understand what I'm saying? It is very hard. And I for one, I am tired. I am tired. Look at it. Since 2013, public servant hasn't gotten a raise in salary. Everything, cost of living has gone up tremendously. It has gone up tremendously. And what we get in, nothing. And they still expect you now to come to work and work to the best of your ability, come to work every day. That's some of my peers, they can't, from the time they get paid today, the next day they pay done because they had a mortgage to pay. If they're living faster, you know, they have passage, they have food to buy, they have bills to pay, they have to see about their children and all of these things. And the government is not even trying to do something to better our lives. They ain't doing nothing. They ain't doing nothing. So what you want people to do? Stay there and take pressure?
Well, Candace, I hear you. I'm back on the tape here because you see, you the people at Trinidad and Tobago, to the many of you that are outside here, know there will be trolls that exist while we are going live, because there are people outside here that do not want to hear the truth. Because once upon a time there was going on crucify a gentleman that would have came from Bethlehem, and in that point in time he would have been, they said no good can come from Bethlehem, and they know what was taking place back then. when they would have put Barabbas and Jesus side by side, I mean to change the conversation in the Candace. But right now, what I see in that playing off within the comment section, I feel I have to make my entrance here. Because at the end of the day, we have to put logic where logic needs to be and bullshit in its place when it's time. So now, tonight here on this live, there are people that will try to fool you and tell you, hey, let me crucify the good man, and to hell we go take the criminal. And we end up in a position here like this today.
Yeah.
On the 16th of March 2025, Stuart Young was inaugurated by a prime minister to be a prime minister. That is the first mistake. That is a watchman.
Yeah,
I would have heard all kind of I would have heard all kind of thing in the constitution and this thing wrong and this thing mean dealing with constitution. I dealing with common sense and a precedence that a prime minister set. So at the end of the day, I don't have to go up for no prime minister. I could buy my prime ministership. Somebody could run for prime minister and give me it. That is the precedence that was set there. Don't get tied up in it. Stuart Young no was taking place in it. Exactly. There is no law in Trinidad and Tobago at the end of the day. No part of the constitution that say what would have taken place there was unconstitutional. I see all people attack this problem from all different angles. At the end of the day, I trust me, the lawyers do what they need to do. And if everybody else say they interpret this way, Philip do interpretation a particular way. But at the end of the day, the precedents that the PNM would have set here in this country on the 16th of March is a deadly precedent that we accept here in Trinidad and Tobago, and that is why we need to reject this government and set this thing straight. How the hell the people, the prime ministership in Trinidad and Tobago is a political one, and that means vote. Man, to hell with this government. What precedents they are setting? I don't care when people say and coming out and talk and say, boy, this thing not welded in law. We are not dealing with where that is concerned. Law don't cover everything in it. It's a question of morality. I would have heard Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley say, morality, there are things that is not explained within the law, but it is wrong nonetheless. And to name a prime minister that was not elected by the damn people of Trinidad and Tobago, that is wrong. That is what we must fight against. This is the beginning of dictatorship within this country. And at the end of the day, we cannot stand up, sit down, jump up and take this bullshit that is taking place within this community, Trinidad and Tobago. Yeah, we hear a lot of people within the comment section talking because they are benefiting from this government. They are benefiting from the failed system that it have at the expense of the many. There are many people here that are not working. There are many people in this Republic of Trinidad and Tobago that not even getting the entertainment money that the Prime Minister getting. And you telling me support the same administration that doing that to we here in Trinidad and Tobago? Man, to hell with some yeah, boy.
Yes, see, the thing is,
we always come here to bring a certain precedence to you, the people. When we talk about Roger Monroe up in Sandy Grande, I know what I'm saying. The day when Wayne Surge would have made his guest appearance, he would have talked about a precedence that was set by the administration that in power. People are comfortable with getting CPEP work after CPEP work, URP after URP, and not thinking about going higher. That is what we are experiencing here. And we are seeing all over the country they're trying to get me to accept bullshit. You telling me a prime minister, we went through COVID, money miss. The auditor general, money miss. And you just come in with a statement that ain't making sense. Oh, we ain't do that. This is not parliament, brother. We ain't do that. We want to see proof. We don't want no talk. We want to see figures. We want to see numbers. We want to see a trend. And the people that is following this government, that is going down a particular road here within this country, You are also part of the problem. So when you're seeing your cousin, your friend, your sister, your dog and all getting shoot, you do that because you choose to vote for foolishness in this country. My God, with some of you all.
And you see, the thing is this, Mr. Renison, this government, they would have learned the behavioral pattern of the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. They know for a fact if they do this, what is the result they're going to get, because we don't like to protest. We like to party. We like to lime, and we don't take nothing serious. So everything they do, and first of all, they know that people don't really watch the news anymore, and they don't read it, always on the social media. So their mind caught up on the social media. So they're doing what they do, whatever they do, and people are even taking on that. So by the time you focus on something else, they're running away with the country. They're reaping havoc over the country. And people just don't have the energy or the strength to come out and fight anymore. And it's programs like what we are having here. A lot of people depending on it. And I'm telling you tonight.
Good night, caller. We have a caller on the lines. Candace, hold on there a second. Good night, caller.
Yes, good night again. Well, I hear you shouting. You're real vexed.
I'm mad, real mad.
Oh, you're mad.
Yeah. I'm mad.
You will continue being mad, because it have place to put them, And the person to do that, they never do it. They ain't doing it at all. Right? That is the leader of the opposition. She have full power to report them to the OAS. I will keep talking about that. And she ain't do it. Let me tell you, if that thing was in Guyana, they don't reach there, Whatever anybody tried in the region to do Guyana, they're going straight there, The last election, when they felt cheated, they go there, and the OAS is who settled the case, Right? So all before, as I told you what night it was, we wasn't supposed to reach in this position. I will tell you something. You mightn't believe me, but who always listening to me know I'm talking the truth. I, Miss Arima, was the first person talk out many months ago, 9 months and more ago, for international observers. And I get blows from that ground report. It have one come out and say that the lady cannot apply. And she said the person is a woman. She said that is a sitting MP. Give her that information that the lady cannot apply. She cannot write for foreign observers. But I know the first step is to ask the Prime Minister. After that, when you fail, you as opposition could write the different organizations, right, to come, invite them to come. I don't know if you know, when Rowley was in opposition, he wrote, he lied, he make a complaint. Once you complain about certain things like the breaking of the democracy, because they don't tolerate undemocratic countries, right? They act on it because this is the Western Hemisphere. They have their laws, they have a charter. We on it, and we there for protection of the bullshit, as you say, that going on inside of here. That thing, we were supposed to be active on it by protesting. The opposition should have made a big thing, have protests, report right away. But no, she's sitting on, and they don't like me, and they get blows.
Yeah, but it's freedom as speech.
And as soon as I say something, they take a ton in my tail, they ban me, but I ain't give a shit. I wish them all the best with the election. You hear, some of them people will make them lose voters. A lot of people talking to me, you cannot speak out, but I will say thank God that the Chinese man, a little softer than the next one from Tobago, that he decided to bring the observers, because he's not so stupid as we think. As I say, this is geopolitics, and he could feel he will feel real hard if he don't give us those observers.
Wow. Well, thank you, caller. Thank you, caller.
Calm down. You ain't getting nothing. Don't raise your pressure for nothing. Nothing will be done. You just wait and see how this thing play now.
You see, I could understand what the angle Mr. Ransom coming from, because you know, people seeing what taking place, you know, it's not no secret, dread, it's not no secret. You're seeing, you're going through the pressure and the pain. And these people are showing you for a fact they don't care about your well-being. They don't care if you eat. They don't care if you have somewhere to live. They just don't care. And then you have people coming on your platform or wherever, and they come with a negative vibe. So I am asking myself, so these people not seeing what's taking place in this country? And they're trying now, you saying what you going through in your household, and they're trying to tell you that is not how it is. So in other words, they're trying to tell you, better days will come, continue to tighten your belt. But people tightening their belt for 9+ years. People cannot.
I reach your point. That, I mean, the old people say something. At the end of the day, they will say, when no good can be done, let the worst prevail.
Yeah.
And I believe that we reached a particular junction here in Trinidad and Tobago. And what I am doing here, I am crying out, not just the people that is outside, are crying out to the nation of Trinidad and Tobago. I'm crying out to you, the ones that have common sense, to understand that regardless to the fact that there are certain things that is not pronounced in law and well stated, that doesn't mean that it's not wrong. It's far too long we suffer underneath crime, corruption, and negligence of the government, the institutional failures that we are living in here in Trinidad and Tobago. Right about now, activists presently would have sued Terrence Dialsing for information on CDAP. The drugs that's supposed to be free for certain drugs, that's over 20 drugs, supposed to be free to people over 60 years of age. And the statistics is not clear that people could sift through and say, all right, these things expire. This is the amount of money that's spent. And he refused. He did not give the information on that over, I mean, I read in the article here, over 52 days. So we having things that is taking place in Trinidad and Tobago. They are not respecting the Freedom of Information Act that governs the freedom to extract information through an institution or governmental institution that was placed there by the people of Trinidad and Tobago. But when I say place, the structure is formed on the backs of the people. And you know where somehow you're going and say, oh, you don't want to take part in politics, but that is a second question. That is a next time, that next conversation for our next debate. The writing on the wall is clear. Exactly. Over the last 10 years, we had suffered and we are continuing to suffer underneath this government. And they have no shame to come in within your constituency and give you bungs and want to kiss your dog and all. If they see a parrot, if they see a pit bull, they hug it up. That is what going on here. Because they want the treasury, they want the country, and they want to continue doing what they are doing.
Yes, exactly. And they want to bully you too to stay in power. They want to bully you. So you must continue to take that pressure. You understand? And how often it looked in the back by me when you was there, Mr. Renzi, when we went to interview the people, and you know this new settlement is a white community. The people and them said they don't even know who is the MP. They don't know Roger Monroe. They don't know him. very shocking to me because at the time I was not a UNC, I was a PNM. Right? So when I heard this, I said, but I myself didn't even know who was Roger Monroe until I met him the other day. So it's only when it's coming to election, you're seeing them in their face. But for the past how much years, you could talk to them on the street, you could make an appointment. You remember when one of the gentlemen said he went to make an appointment to see Monroe, and they gave him a 3-month appointment? 3 months appointment, you know. So, but when they want your vote, they're in your ass 24/7. They're all up in your face. And some of these, I don't understand. You know, listen to me. I started to say, no, it's good for Trinidad and Tobago. You know why? For the people of Trinidad and Tobago. It's damn good for us. You know why? We seeing what taking place. We're feeling the sufferation. And we don't want to do nothing about it. I told you, one of my friends said she was in a PNM political meeting, and 2-3 of the ministers were horsing around and talking. And you know what one of the ministers said? Trinidadians, hush now, boy, you know, they just only protest alone for KFC. Look at how they have us down. Look at how they have us down, and they are right. They are right because we suffering. You can't even afford to pay light bill, water bill, and internet in 1 month. You can't even afford to buy food in 1 month. You have to space it out. And all you and get up and rise up and say enough is enough. And somehow they want to go and put all their finger in red for the Balize for another 5 years again. Nah, man, something had to be wrong with me, man. Something had to be wrong. Is that they're walking over on we? They put a spell, they cast a spell over the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago because you're seeing it as plain as day. What all you waiting on? What all you waiting on to wake up? So then we like separation.
In respect to the time, I know the 10 minutes into the COVID.
Because young people can't handle separation, you know. And if you notice, it's only the young people that really committing crime, you know. The older heads who in the crime, they dress back, and they use the young boys and girls as little goons to do their dirty work. And it's only when it reach home, then we go say, oh God, look at what's going on, my son go and make a jail. And you know, instead of you fight for betterment, you're starting to pawn your house or mortgage your house or go by somebody to borrow money to bail out your son or your daughter. Where that money going to? Back into the systems. So it's only the 1% getting richer. Because a lawyer going and charge you how much? Thousands of dollars to fight a case. When the government's supposed to put things in place. I'm not saying that they didn't really put things in place, but you have to put it in the district where you live in. Because if you had to get a little work and you have small money, but the work you're going to, like for instance, me, if I don't have $55 a day, I can't go to work. It has some people don't even have that. They don't even have passage to leave from where I am living to go out into Sandy Grande. They're not doing things for the people. Then look, let's get back to
And you see, I doesn't like to go into the comments so much, you know. Come into the comments, let me read this comment here, Candice.
No, let me tell you something.
No, only horses, Candice, because I need to read it. Vote for Stuart Young. Vote for people who can work with good people friendly. And here I say, to that person that on the live inside football. If at the end of the day you want to go ahead and vote for Stuart Young, but you go ahead. But to you the people, if you want to vote for crime, for high crime and broken promises, or you follow that statement. That is all I have to say.
You see that man, what's his logo inside football? He is a PNMite. If you notice the way how he's doing his comments, we shouldn't even be talking about him because he's waste of time.
Candice, you see, you have to understand this dynamic here, you know, because at the end of the day, there are a certain proportion of people that don't know who is the enemy, and we must point out all who is the enemy so the people could have a target to hit. Because half of the problem here in Trinidad and Tobago, they know that the PNM administration is the enemy. You know. Black people don't know that. You know. Black people was taught to accept everything that the PNM dishing out. So at the end of the day, this position that we are in here, we must tell them and make them know who is their enemy. That is the target. That is who we are to hit. Because they do not like us.
No.
If they didn't like us, we would have been better off as a race of people. I would not have no reason to talk out against them. But sister, my brother, the neighborhood. Because who ain't talking out the afraid?
The shame.
No,
the shame not afraid. The shame.
But who ain't talking out on this side afraid? Because
well,
it's so serious, Candice, that you could die talking out against the PNM. And when I say that, I say all. Mr. Alonszo, I know you're waiting. Go ahead.
Mr. Alonszo isn't here, you know. He had some problems and he came off a while.
No, he there. In full view.
I am not seeing him then. But then I'm not seeing him. I'm not seeing him. But at the end of the day,
are you hearing me, Mr. Allison?
Yes, I'm hearing you.
Ready?
Okay.
Okay. I wanted to make a plug for. I was going to respond to a contribution by Candice when she talked about how much they don't care, and I wanted to shift an example to the sister Isle of Tobago, where only recently we saw or we heard from the ex-Minister of National Security that they know all the gang people who are causing the crime increase in Tobago. And he understands that there is no scan on the port, and all the guns that are coming in could be coming right there on the port and all that good stuff. But then they do so and they ordered 4 scanners. When I saw that, I was very happy. I say, oh, they're going to do something eventually for the crime situation in Tobago. Because we know guns could be coming in right there on the boats because they do have a scanner. And you could pack some watermelon and pumpkin and some tomatoes and come in as a vendor and sell your stuff. But the real product that you're selling is guns and ammunition. But then when the report, as I'm reading into the report, I realized that 2 of the scanners were staying in Port of Spain and 2 were going to Point Lisa. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So 4 scanners, 2 for Port of Spain, 2 for
I don't know why.
Yes, Mr. Alonszo, go ahead. Yes, we are hearing. I am hearing you loud and clear. Candice is speaking there.
I'm not hearing him, and I'm not even seeing it. So something is wrong. They're jamming the thing again. They're doing. You see, and that's the thing, citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. You see, when something is good is about to happen.
Yes, Mr. Alonszo, go ahead. Go ahead.
Islands, because scanners is not a THA responsibility. Scanners is a Ministry of Works and Transport responsibility, which is coming from central government. So the Senator Rohan Sinanan is responsible for ensuring that Tobago's port is well managed. And then you have the Prime Minister, so he leaves the people of Tobago hanging. But then he comes here to open an airport. And you know how we describe the people of Tobago? As 60,000 crabs in a barrel. Now, so you deny the scanners, so you left the people to fend for themselves and then come in their face and call them crabs in a barrel. How much more insulting can you be to your, not just the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, but these are your cousins, your family, your relatives, your neighbors, your friends, the people you went to school with, the people who taught you. the shopulars go in, your auntie and your nene and all of them. You lump all of them into one and say, you all are crabs in a barrel. This is not so no fairy thing, this is real stuff. But let me tell you something, Mr. Renison, about this. There are three types of PNM supporters. I qualify them in three categories. One category, the ones that must support and vote for the PNM. They are the executive, they are the party group people, they are the ones in central government who run the operation of government. So most of them, and I'm not just talking about public servants, I'm talking about the elected officials and their surroundings, family and friends. And then you have the ones who choose to vote because maybe they have a nice cushy job, they get in the contracts, the PNM till I die kind. But they are also in the minority in terms of voters. The majority of them are the ones who are forced to vote. And I am wanting to qualify, especially the kind of comments I see coming from some of these PNMites, the ones who say PNM till I die. I am of the opinion that they are in the category of the ones being forced to vote. In that demographic of forced to vote, you will hardly find them reading. You will hardly find them listening to channels like the Parliament channel so that they could apprise themselves of some of the issues and the deliberation that takes place to understand what the government may not be saying. Maybe the opposition will be able to explain it. So you get centrist perspective on the issue. These are the ones who you could do what you want. They hold on to that blindly. And it's just unfortunate that there are so many of them. But I want to tell them this much. And he had nowhere else because I didn't see some of them on the chat. I don't know them. Your very prime minister, there's a term called gaslighting, which is when you want to tell somebody something for them to believe, you will repeat it a million times. So even though it's a lie, because you keep hearing it, you will believe that it's the truth. And so during the era when the Sandals conversation was in the air, when Sandals' deal fell through, he was blaming everybody else. He blamed the opposition. Everybody that was opposed to that deal, he blamed them, especially the opposition. And only recently now, in his sane self, he comes out to say, well, it was some public servants who failed to honor some of the timelines for certain certification that caused the deal to fall through. So what does he do? He gives us a conversation that is based on truths. He gives us that conversation so we can hate the opposition. And then now, after we give him the power to rule over us, he comes out and he admits, he say, well, you know what? That wasn't really the truth, The real truth is so and so and so and so. And that's what he keeps doing to us. But you see, the people who continually support, they will not have that information because they don't read it, they don't research it, they don't take time to listen to a sensible kind of conversation, And that is the problem we have today. This is why I am so admirable of Mr. Williams, and it's so important to keep shows like these because jump high, jump low. All the bacchanal they are trying to cause, they are on the program. Like in Jesus say, when they were bad talking Jesus, Paul said, well, whether you talk for him or against him, the fact is that Jesus is preached, right? So we need to preach truth and let their conscience be their guide, because I want to remind them that the same prime minister, your leader who you're supporting, expressed to you that if this dragon gas deal don't come true, your cuckoo will be cooked. Your cuckoo will be cooked because the country will not have enough money to pay their debts. It means, therefore, any country that cannot pay their debts will be forced to go to the IMF for that kind of relief and support. And when you go to the IMF it gives you instruction, and he explained it that day when he had his conference. The IMF will give you instruction to start cutting from non-revenue generating agencies. And you know what? Some of the people who are supporting the PNM to the hilt, they fall in that category. The CPAP workers, the URP workers, the ones who get in the little 10 days, the ones who don't care if they staff for 4.5 years, but they know this time they go get something. We see reports in Moruga where the minister who is responsible for handling that campaign is giving away fridges and stoves and whatever. We see in Sangre Grande, everybody now getting a call, coming for a contract, coming for 10 days, coming for a little help, and a hamper here and a hamper there, right? So they're the ones who stand to lose the most. They're the ones who work paycheck to paycheck. So that airport that was open, that voter, may not even have the funds to buy a plane ticket. Yeah, to see that airport. So that airport means nothing to you. He went further to say that we may be forced to start to charge citizens for their medical help, so that we may have to pay a fee to enter an emergency room in a hospital. Take time and read.
But that is what they want to do long time.
Yeah.
That is what that
is their intention. Because what?
For years now.
Yeah, give us an opportunity to plant more marijuana trees. Friday night, you stand up on the town square on Brian Lara Promenade with your bottle of punch, and you're having a time. And that is what you want, more of that same. You want more of that same, and the PNM provides that kind of environment. The Roman Roti politics, they do what you want, have a time, while they're in a boardroom counting your money from the treasury. You are high like a kite on Brian Lara Promenade. But it will take some Williamses around this country to change that. And I am happy that we have so many young people who are trying not to follow in that direction. And those are the people that we will be focusing on. We will try to educate and bring them up to stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So I see it's 9:35 as you suggested on this.
Yes, we went just 5 minutes, but I would have allowed it because we had a break in communication. I would have allowed it. So, well, let us just you want to read a few in the comments, or we just not. Anyway, the majority of the comments was, you know, the famous Slimy, and we have a new one of his allies inside football. That whatever that name, whatever that signifies. You see, the thing is this, as I said before, this program is to edify the people as to what is taking place. Because this PNM government know Trinidadians is partiers. We are happy-go-lucky people. We don't take nothing serious until it's done. Is that what we do? Is that what happened there? And by that time, they don't fill their pockets and they're gone. So what I'm trying to say is this. So the state that the country is in at the moment, whose fault is that? That is my question for tonight. The state that our country is in at the moment, whose fault is that? The UNC? Could somebody, well, Slimy, can you answer that question for me? Because I don't understand.
No,
look at the state of the country.
Candace, you know, he asked him a question and he can't answer. He say, how you edifying the people? By lying or by omission? Now, he not answering, he doing just the same thing that Rowley and Stuart Young does be doing all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, who have the country underneath this condition that it is in right now? That is a simple question, Slimy. You're asking, well, Smiley, what question, answer that. Who are the country in this position? Who are the country in this position for a whole 10 years? Who are the crime level up? Who we entrust to run this country? Who dropped the ball?
Oh. No, the
Man,
UNC.
man.
The UNC is who dropped the ball. And that is something this PNM government like to do. They like to throw the blame, push off the blame. And they know the citizens, we don't take nothing serious. And that's what has bothered me with some of us. We don't take nothing serious. But let me tell you something. You
I
see,
wonder if some of these voters they saw the press conference by this new prime minister in waiting. He had a press conference today, and he was asked in a variety of ways by several of the journalists who were there about the allegation of his abuse and the way he's handling it. And for the fourth or fifth time that this man has to respond, up to now he has indicated no sense of humility, no sense of transparency, to at least come out and say, you know what, maybe at that time I probably erred and I want to apologize. You know what he said? Well, it is 33 years ago, and I have already made a statement. And what I am caring to do now is about going forward and trying to put things in place to make sure that children, I am apologizing to all children, not addressing the very victim that he was responsible for abusing. And this is the kind of, this high-handed, dismissive, insulting attitude that continue to come out of, and this is a character flaw that this man has. Nobody cares about who you put to be in charge, but let it be somebody that display a character of care. And so what we're seeing is more of the same, maybe a lighter skin version, maybe a softer tone version of the same. This man is a product of what we have experienced for the 99 years. And until and unless people realize that it will be worse, because it's one thing to get abused by your own. We make excuse for that. And that's one of the problem with PNM. They make excuse for their leader. There's this wall of defender that comes out. Now, these are the same one cussing when they get back on the maxi taxi to go home because they didn't get paid, but they forced them on they're cussing the PNM. But when it comes about talking their leadership and policies, they will defend them in the public. And they're the ones that stand to lose the most. It is so disgusting, as I would say. So we already seeing, and this it didn't take the press conference today, because what I saw is when it happened with you, Candice, and then I go back into some records and I realized, but he did it to a reporter in Parliament, strips in the man mic and walk away from him.
Walk away. And then,
so if you talk about a mistake 33 years ago, we are now seeing the same character flaw in you, even now, Mr. Stuart Young. So have you really changed? This is why you can apologize.
And it's not only he alone it's not only he alone have that mentality, Mr. Wayne. You would have seen that same behavior from Fitzgerald Hines and what's his name? The one that is alleged that the monies went missing under his watch. Help me with the name. I just never remember the name. The Minister of Finance, that is no longer the Minister of Finance.
Oh, can't remember.
Mr. Embert. He would have done the same thing too. So they want to do as they please, and when they are asked questions, nobody was ask them nothing. They walk off on you.
Yeah.
The same bully mentality. And let me tell you something. I want to believe it. If the outside people is to intervene and do proper investigation, every one of them on that cabinet will make a jail. Because I saw the majority of assets they have back then to now, they can't give account for it. They will only continue to do that. You know why? Because Trinidad is a lackadaisical country. They will get away. Because they keep doing it over and over and they're rubbing it in your face and there's what you can do about it really. What can you do?
Well, that is what we're here for this afternoon. On the 28th of April 2025, do not follow the media propaganda that exists outside here. We are all suffering. PNM is not the answer.
No.
PNM could never be the answer. There wasn't the answer for 5 years now. I mean, I give them a blind. There wasn't the answer for 10 years. They are not the answer. They are the reason why we are in this problem. And this reshuffle that we are seeing here, it's just the same thing. They just it's cards that are just reshuffle. But again, people, to the many of you that are outside there, that are watching, that are listening, this is a live program, and we would have encouraged you. I mean, you know, we talk. Everybody have Candace fiery every time. My heart beat Candace right on my heel. That just so I want all the rest of them nonsense to be. They must be right there, right on my coat. Anytime I start a sentence, Candace finishing it. But at the same time, that is to show the amount of passion that Candace have. I mean, she packing up two man that year. Alonszo and the younger version, Renison Jeffrey. So we reach a certain degree, a certain point here in which we are wrapping up. And we would like to tell the many of you, you know, thanks for listening. Thanks for being a part of this course here tonight. So what you guys want to say in closing, Miss Candace? What is your closing comment? Where is Alonszo closing comment?
You know what is my closing comment here tonight? And let me tell you this, sir. While some of us not taking not focusing on what is taking place in our country, it is a reality. The country going downhill. And I, as a single mother, concerned mother, I am afraid for myself and for what is coming for my children if this PNM government should be re-elected. This morning I wake up frightened because as I wake up, before I could even say my prayers, it just dawned on me. I am afraid because I don't know what's coming. And it's about time the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, they wake up, you know. Sense was made before book. You don't have to listen to me. This is not a rocket science. You're suffering, you're feeling it, you're sleeping in it, you're wearing it, you're drinking it. It is all around. It's up to you and I to make a difference for our future generation, our children. Now is the time, you know. It's either now or never. Because if Stuart Young becomes prime minister, all they know the behavior he have, and he wasn't even prime minister. Once he get a crown, he will turn into Emperor Stuart Young. And darling, you see what we're doing here? And on the TikTok, because he don't plan to reform social media. That will be the end of freedom of speech. So sit back and relax and tell her, let's say, nah, that ain't gonna happen, man. Because so, and play your own bush lawyer and egg up and smell the roses. Because tonight I vex, you know, are hot and are bothered. You know why? Because I find it have a lot of people, they know the right thing, they know the truth. But according to Mr. Alonszo, they're dying. The eyes are PNM and what I do? My mother was that, my father was that. That was back then. This is now. Time changes, and so do many. Your mindset has to start to change and think different. You're thinking about a brighter future for yourself and for your family. Don't wait until the iron get hot to ball out. Of course, to you, Mr. Alonszo.
Yeah, well, thanks again. You know, it is also bothering, but it is what it is. We have to deal with that. It is the level of where we are. There's a lot of reason for it. It's why they don't want to improve our education system. It is why they have taken temporary work to make it a permanent business in Trinidad. There are people who are career CPEP workers. There are people who are career 10-day workers. If they
I
get
like
that
how you're
10 days
saying
every
it.
3 months,
I like
they are happy with that.
and they
You know,
settle.
they enjoy the convenience of working 2 hours a day and going about their way because now they can smoke marijuana on the street. So they have adapted to that quality of life, not realizing that the world is going by. We are getting to the point where artificial intelligence will be replacing a lot of work, and people are not really focusing on the fact that they may have to improve their skills of computer, skills of technology. There are a number of things that are coming down the pike that a lot of people will get left behind. And so, you know, if you feel that you're comfortable in your own skin because you reached an age that you don't have to bother anymore, think about your children, because we are leaving a world where there are more challenges for them. Unlike the time that we grew up in a village raised the child environment. So we had support in the yard or the street or the village that we were raised. If your mother wasn't there, auntie or she nenen or she
Miss,
family or she friend
Mr.
will bring a
Alonso,
food. They
let
will
me
come
do.
and support you. Yes,
Mr.
sir.
Alonso, we go take one last call. Matter of fact. Good night, caller.
Good night, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, good night. Last caller for the night.
Well, I hear he was talking about Kim Jong-un.
Yeah,
If what it's like Kim Jong-un, you know, if he's a dictator to
yeah,
remove all the social media because Kim Jong-un you're talking about.
Yes,
That man
yes.
have no humility about him, you know. He have no humility. I
thank
watch
you
him good.
very much, caller.
Since the time he make that statement against the opposition leader, right? And he wasn't apologetic. They had to force him into apology. And he came today, they asked him for another apology towards what happened to him in the past. And he was very unsympathetic about that. He said what happened in the past happened, and he apologized to every other children that going through that, except for what he did in the past. Furthermore, this entire scenario
What
where
he
he
did, that's
became
right.
prime minister, right? Where he became prime minister was a plan hatched out in a Hollywood environment. In that they planned the entire thing, himself and Dr. Rowley. You could tell me Dr. Rowley stood before the people of this country on Sunday and couldn't dissolve the parliament? He could have dissolved the parliament and saved the taxpayers of this country $87,000. But he chose not to do that and give his right-hand man the opportunity to sign on as prime minister for a day, get the instruments, and then resign with the full pension at his disposal at
Yes,
taxpayers' expense.
exactly.
And to me, and that is a wicked travesty. You know, parents supporters isn't seeing that, you know, that coming out of their pocket, that coming out of taxpayers' pocket. Mr. Young
Thank
was
you.
supposed to fight this election to win the election to become prime minister, but he took a loophole given to him by puppet master. All of them hatched out this whole entire thing, and as soon as he became prime minister, you see what he do. In one day, out the next day, he didn't care to heck about nobody. He just resigned. He called the election, and all of you know how to pay he $87,000. Now, let me tell you what the scenario will be. In the coming years, we'll have to pay at least 4 prime ministers. You know what I tell you that? If the opposition leader in waiting wins the election, you'll have to pay she $87,000. And I cannot see Kamala Prasad lasting the 5 years in prime ministership of this country. She will step down within her term, and our next person will have to take 2 to that thing and get another $87,000. This entire thing, right, with the Salary Reviews Commission has put forward here is a sham on the public. It's a big sham. I find if you have to be given that $87,000, you must spend a term, which is 5 years, and you will get the $87,000 pension for life. Now you go in there one day, put your name down as prime minister, resign, you collect your $87,000 as taxpayers' expense. This is a con artistry, a con job that will pull on the people of Trinidad and Tobago all to get a pension. That is what I call it. That is what this prime minister, Stuart Young or Young Kim Young Jong, or whatever you call him, tear on the people of this country and rob
Yeah.
the taxpayers of this country $87,000 today. Have a good night, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much, sir.
Well, before we say anything, you see that
Very interesting perspective.
caller, I want to tell you something. I ain't lying. I had a toothache because I'm angry tonight, and you know you give the Panadol for my toothache. Thank you very much. Because sometimes I just get so angry, I just try to hold back my emotions. No, I'm telling you, so if I was close to a hug you, you know why? It's people like this caller, this program is really does make up this program really, you know, because it's people with sense. Now he give me the inspiration. You last caller I line on, I get so mad because I plan to tell Mr. Renison, have a chat with Mr. Renison after the program to adjust certain things, But I want to tell you thanks. From the bottom of my heart, last caller, wherever you're from, thank you very much. And you see that strategy, what Stuart Young did do? He make sure he swing over, he collect $87,000, and then it's a strategy, it's money they on. This PLM government only on money, they're raping the country. Blind. And all you ain't doing nothing about it. Come on, man. Look.
But Alonzo, I want to engage in a very serious conversation at this point in time. I mean, let me take an extra 2 minutes because the caller would have said something just now, which is a food for thought. Now, let me say, we just saying hypothetically, Rowley was the Prime Minister, he surely going to get $87,000 a month. Stuart Young was the Prime Minister, he going to get $87,000 a month.
Yes.
Let me say, wait, Candace, wait. Let me say, Kamala Persad-Bissessar win the election, she going to get $87,000 a month. And let me say, she hand it over, or she might reach into a position. Let me say something happened, and that somebody else had to be Prime Minister. So the country now will now have to fit a bill of at least $100,000 to 4 people a month. That is a serious thing to consider.
Well,
I show you here the statement just now there, Mr. Alonzo.
Well, you know, I mean, the guy has a very interesting perspective, and I don't think when he talked about, you know, Mr. Bissessar as a new prime minister, you know, having to give up her reign, it would be for any nefarious reason, like we see in this present situation. Miss Kamala Persad-Bissessar is not a young woman. I'm sure she's probably fighting to hold on to the stability of her organization to make sure that the transitioning would be a smooth one. So
Yes.
in the reasoning of that last caller, it is reasonable to assume that he could be more referring to a health situation where she may not be
that
able
is
to
what he's
serve out
referring
a full
to.
5 terms.
That is what he's referring to.
So under the circumstance, you have to look at what is the benefit to people in that particular office. They are guided by what the Salary Review Commission had to hand down. Whether they were coerced to make that decision, it is a decision that benefits all.
Well,
if any one of us in that situation, whether you caused it or not, you are beneficiary of it.
Well, see, I don't feel the man was negative in what he was saying, but he make a point that we need to elaborate.
Yeah.
You see, the point that we need to elaborate is the fact that you must spend at least a whole term to receive that, and that should be a clause that should be implemented. Like, be real, you go into the office on one day. It must be for a particular period that you get that kind of money. That is all I am saying. And what the gentleman saying is quite correct. It shouldn't be that.
I agree. I agree. But let me tell you this much, right? And this is one of the problem. There is this. You know why the Prime Minister and his cabinet, you know why they could laugh at us and tell us they raised gas price and nobody complained, and they did this and they shout at us and buff at us? You know why? There is another layer of conversation. Maybe I will have to engage a scholar on this conversation, which I think would work well for us, to really educate people on some aspects of the Constitution that gives all power to a prime minister in a Commonwealth country like ours. It's not just Trinidad. When you look at the wider Caribbean, we were all subjects of Britain. There is this what you call a doctrine of collective responsibility, or as a lawyer described it, a constitutional dictatorship, right? Which is the doctrine of collective responsibility. And what that simply means is that no minister can go into cabinet and object to a decision that is made that is grounds for firing. You could be fired from your ministry. And so you have a prime minister like Dr. Keith Rowley who buffs people into shape. If he wants something, he gets something. And if he does not want something, no one can go in. Let me give you a good example. We could go back to that same situation with Tobago. Tobago has two ministers who represent the island of Tobago in central government and at a cabinet level, because one is a minister of sports for Trinidad and Tobago, and one is a minister in the ministry of the prime minister responsible for social issues, right? They are representing the people of Tobago, and they heard their own Minister of National Security talk about leaving Tobago hanging as it relates to crime. Don't you think that they want to have an intervention at central government on behalf of the people of Tobago, that they could go and shoo in Rowley ears and say, listen, them 4 scanners that Inbird buying, give we one now so we could look good? But they can't do that. Let's look at another example. You have 2 walkovers on that highway, one at the marketplace and one at the Twin Towers, right? The people who need a walkover in Trinidad are the people coming from Tobago or going to Tobago. You have thousands of people crossing that dual highway every day. And so these people who are representing Tobago in government, these are the kind of things that they should be intervening for. But they cannot, because why? It takes the prime minister to finally decide what needs to be done. They can't go there and object. We don't have the kind of, tri-state governance like in America.
Mr. Alonszo, with all due respect, I understand what you're saying concerning the ministers and them. They can't really reject what is being said. I understand what I'm saying. But in terms of protecting the assets of the people, in terms of protecting the finances of the people, because the government are the accountants, you can't tell me at the end of the day, you are deserving. I mean, minister or no minister, we're dealing on a question of morality here in Trinidad and Tobago. You can't tell me you could end up in a position for only one day and you getting this $87,000 a month, and the precedents that the government would have set, the P&M administration, they would have set up precedents on the basis that they could step down whilst they inside of it and change a prime minister and only set that once you win and you control the majority in cabinet, you could choose any prime minister from the ranks. What type of thing is that we accept in here?
Well, that is, and we could adduce a number of reasons why he had to call the election. One could adduce that he knew it was not the right decision, the moral decision. I mean, let us face it. You don't need to read in our papers that normally when a prime minister, through the democratic process of the one man, one vote system, is being elected and the president sign off on that, and the Election and Boundaries Commission signs off, and everybody agree that, hey, he got more votes and this party won, and this is the prime minister of the country. It means, therefore, all prime ministers and presidents around the world who engage with us or have those type of ambassadorial relationship, they would send letters of congratulation, right? That has not happened in Trinidad or for Stuart Young. As a matter of fact, only today I saw where he used the letterhead of the ministry that he is in charge of to send congratulations to him. So it's like by himself, for himself. So he created his own congratulatory letter and he put it out there for everybody to read. But we ain't seen nothing coming from the prime ministers in CARICOM. We ain't see
Exactly.
President Trump and Trudeau and nobody congratulating this man. So,
Because
so we can look at a
they
number of reasons.
they too realize what's taking place in this country.
You see, I
They
don't want to get carried.
understand
I
what's
don't want to
going
get
on.
carried away with the issues that we discussed in it, because there are a lot of people that they are not able to pay attention to the point. A matter of fact, to the whole story that we just call it in English. That's a funny word, but anyway, the subject here is this. And look at now, see something here come up in the comment. At least 1 year, Mr. Maraj would have said at least 1 year in the position before they could get the money. And there should be certain stipulations.
I want to make,
Go ahead.
I want to make a point because this is the point I was making as it relates to that, right? You and I don't have any control over those decisions. They don't consult with us. They don't have town hall meetings. Ministers and members of parliament who we put to represent us, they don't come to us and go and take an independent position in parliament or in cabinet. They cannot go there and go against their leader's position. The people who are there according to this current constitutional construct ought to be the independent senators. They are the ones who make up the numbers, where there's the 2/3 majority for certain decisions. They are the ones who are supposed to be speaking for us. But according to the Constitution, here the problem we the people have. While they're supposed to be the ones to check, whether it's the opposition position and support the opposition when it's needed and support the government when it's needed, they are not elected by us. So they are really not representing us. They are elected by the different factions in parliament. So you have government senators and you have opposition senators. Now, when you are selected by the government, would you not change or create a perspective to suit the government's position? Do you see independent senators going against their party? They are also members of that party. So I'm saying all this to say,
you see that. You see, there lies the flaw within the Constitution. Because at the end of the day, if we elect a government, we supposed to be the one that is holding the checks and balances. Now, when the conversation with her came about concerning having when the conversation with her came concerning referendum, where the public is to have a say on what concerns them. If the government want to take this salary, this salary review commission, in a perfect democratic society, a voting supposed to take place. It do not have that. We only have power on election day to choose a representative to represent us. We do not really have a choice in any of the matter. So the Constitution of Trinidad, and I hear people talk about constitutional reform, and the only thing that needs to change within the Constitution or needs to be inserted is referendum, where the people now come and have a say. We could go and march 1,000 times outside any building, and at the end of the day, the government don't want to take us personally. That is why at the end of the day, they beg for our votes only for 1 day. They could do that on 1 day, and to hell with us. We don't have a choice. What they do is give us an illusion of a choice. So at the end of the day, we could come here. We come in here and talking about this. They take power out of people.
This is why they worry them.
And who allowing it? We are allowing it to happen. We, the citizens, are allowing that to happen. If all of us come together and put our foot down They can't continue to do what they're doing. And because they know the type of people we, the citizens of Trinidad, is, they continue to do it anyway. That is why the woman said the man used that remark in the meeting and said that we could only protest for KFC, for chicken when chicken big or when it's small, for big pieces of chicken. Imagine that. So they, in their mind, they look at us as nobody and they treat us as if we are nobody. And they are going to continue to treat us as if we are nobody because we, the citizens, are allowing them to. And we had to make a stand.
And this is,
go ahead, Mr. Alonszo.
This is why citizens need to understand the power of that voting finger. While we only get a chance once every 5 years to exercise that right, we sell it too cheaply.
Exactly.
And we sell it too myopically. Myopic meaning I'm only looking at how my family view my vote because we always vote traditionally one way. But the way that you traditionally vote, you see it hurting you. You understand? And you keep doing the same thing every 5 years. So while we are begging for bread every day, they come around only once every 5 years. All of us have to beg, at some point. But here the problem with their begging. They bribe their way into getting 5 more years. No service, no real value for humans. And they come at you and they throw a set of corn and they offer you 10 days so that they can get 5 more years. And people need to take, this is the mother of all election in Trinidad. People need to take this election
very
so
serious. Like so a heart attack.
Yeah. This is the mother of all election because we are seeing the signs. They are there. And this is, I'm still trying to understand the rationale for the rush in getting that position today and calling an election just 6 weeks out and talking about you catch the opposition with your pants down. The opposition is not the one who are voting. Yeah, but the oppositions are not the ones who are voting to keep you in or keep you out. It is the majority, the 300,000 people who has to give you that power. And up to now, they have not given us substantial reason to vote for something. They have not, all they're doing, the man comes in a press conference, his first press conference to the public coming out of cabinet, and he continues to attack the opposition leader.
They don't have nothing else to do.
Where are you carving your space, Mr. You are the prime minister of all of us. And what are you starting, what precedent are you starting off with to give us an impression that you can be different, that you can be empathetic to the needs of the majority, if not all of us? He continues with the same old line, attacking the opposition leader. So citizens have enough reason not to be comfortable enough to believe that their situation will change. He is continually instilling in us a sense of doubt, a sense of fear, because according to the geopolitics that we are about to face now, this is leaving our shores, and now we have a bigger problem on our hand, where the very people that continue to pay our bills, the people we sell our goods to, they are the ones now can become our problem. And here the problem that I'm hearing in the last week, our prime minister is not going soft on America. Take your visa. He's not going soft on England, who is our mother. You want to impose that we're going to remove ourselves from the Privy Council, and then you go in to talk about you have an African name. And we know that you have been visiting Africa. You went, you got, well, I don't know if you went, but Yams was sent for you. Of all the products in the world, you brought yam from Africa
No,
for us.
we
And
will
then
eat yam. We will eat yam, tea, breakfast, and dinner.
yeah. And then you are telling a journalist who usually write against you that you have an African name.
Yeah.
And now I'm hearing on the news this morning by the Tobago sector of the Trinidad and Tobago Chamber of Commerce, when asked about the plans for the new airport in Tobago, that one of the drops that is being processed is a direct from Africa to Tobago for the airport here. So when you put all those African conversation and you have the head of your country having a sort of disrespectful tone to the countries that we look to, one for our travel, for our education, for our shopping, for our business, to be able to do business, you are disenfranchising us, the citizens, because you alone can probably jump on a plane and go Africa. So is Africa your new home? Because you change your name, you have a long African name. These are statements coming out of our prior prime minister, who is still in government because he's the leader of the very party that is in government. So he's still calling the shots. And you are putting us, the citizens, in jeopardy. You know, it's mind-boggling that people stand to lose. They don't have a clue as to what's coming down the pike. But again, the psychology in the approach to the way we are governed is that when you starve a man for 4.5 years, then the little he gets is a lot. Yeah. And so he don't mind waiting out because, you know, he could hibernate in some way for 4.5 years because now he's so hungry that he comes out. So whatever little he gets, he takes it and he appreciates it. And then he says, well, thank you. I'll go wait for 4.5 years because I'm sure I will get again. And what they do, they have allowed us now to see the opposition as the big dragon. So they give us the reason as if they are responsible for our problem. You see them Indian and them, you see them Coolie and them, you see them and them, is them responsible for all your poverty. And they take the mirror away from themselves every time you confront them with a social issue. They don't try to respond and say, listen, we made a mistake, we apologize, like the one came on the chat this morning and said, they don't apologize for nothing. You know what they do to us? They say, well, look at them. They thief more. Look at them. They did that too. So they constantly don't give us a reason to vote for something. What they do, they give us a conversation to vote against someone. And that is the problem that we are faced. So this country is never operating at maximum potential. It is either the focus on the east-west corridor or south of the Caribbean. We are divided down the middle. So the true potential of Trinidad and Tobago has not yet been realized. And Trinidad and Tobago is crying out for a leader that will engage more of us so that we can add more value to who we are as a nation. It's a good country, well blessed with natural resource, talented people, educated people, right? But we are not using those talents to the benefit of the majority, and the politicians that are there, they enjoy this. And you know what is sad? The ones who stand up for the PNM, the PNM know what they're handing down is BS. They know it. The politicians know it. But because they understand that they could afford to get away with it, they make statements in the public that they know nobody's listening to. The opposition is exposing certain ills. That is the business of opposition, to cross the T's and dot the I's. So let's listen to both sides. They know that they would not listen because while Parliament is going on, they write out on Independence Square, wine, lamb, and jam. And so we are not operating at the maximum. Look at the progression of our communities. Look at the progression of our communities, even when the PNM is in power. Beetham and Sealers have been left hanging for too long. And even when Manning made an attempt to enhance the quality of those people's lives under the stewardship of Mr. Keith Christopher Rowley, the then Minister of Housing, he being the Prime Minister in 2015 had all those packages, all those drawings that were done by UDCUT to enhance East Port of Spain. The building that was started in Chaguanas was to move those people temporarily and bring them back to enjoy a better quality of life. Look how much deaths have occurred in those communities. Drugs, all kind of decadence taking place. You take a walk up George Street, men are sitting right on the street in the presence of all these school children and smoking cocaine. The socio-economic conditions of Port of Spain is like a rut. And so that is what Manning tried to do, enhance the quality of life in the city of Trinidad. And this man in government, 9 years, the first project you're going to do is to fix buildings that has no benefit to the average citizen of Trinidad and Tobago. No problem. The buildings are there. They need to be fixed. But how do you make that your priority project? Was it really about the buildings or an opportunity to put more money in your friend's hand by virtue of a contract, right? And the very buildings that should have been repaired to the benefit of people was to break down Beetham and to give the entrance to your city a more palatable look. You know, when you're driving into a city, you don't want to be seeing all that rut and old steel and all them fellas with the galvanized and dead dogs. And I mean, the Labas is already bad for the entrance to a city. But when you look to the other side, what you're seeing is decadence. What you're seeing is madness. And you had that privilege. You had the power and the authority to change people's lives. And after 9 years, you have transferred the reign, and up to now, nobody is talking about the quality of enhancing the quality of people's lives. They are constantly on their back foot, defending the Maduro conversation, defending the visa issue, defending the Petrotrin issue, all the macro stuff that has not trickled down to enhance the very people that you're depending on to conversation. The only person quality of life seen on the TV that is now giving us a sense of hope that, you know what, finally, maybe I will get something from the very resource of the land that God placed me as a citizen. The kind of programs and activities she's looking to bring to the table should give citizens a sense of hope. And so this is not about voting for UNC. This is voting for a whole different approach to governance. And I don't care who it is. It cannot be more of the same, because the PNM has been showing us constantly that what we are voting for, it will be more of the same. Because at no point in the conversation in the last week that people have been part of the conversation. No part of the conversation. Whether it was when they came to Tobago, whether it was when he came to open the airport, whether it was when he had his final speech, whether it was the press conference today, none of the conversation is about how are you going to enhance the lives of the very people that is you're depending on to vote for you. Because the PNM need to mass mobilize their base. And we are the ones that are being pissed upon constantly, because the very voter who votes for the UNC, even out of office, they are well entrenched in what they have that they could dry out for 5 years. Well entrenched. Kamala Prasad Bissessa was smart enough in 2015 to look out for her base. That is what smart prime ministers do. What she did, she was able to extend the life of the very CPEP and European contractors 3 years after, so that even in the first 3 years of PNM's reign, her supporters were benefiting because she placed certain contractors and they were able to employ people. That is what a smart prime minister does. You see certain decisions being taken in America by Donald Trump, and he will tell you straight up, this is what they sent me here to do. They may not be popular decisions, but it is on the basis of those decisions that he went around and tell people what he's going to do. He won the election on those promises and he's executing them. That is what prime ministers do. So he gave people enough reason to vote for him. What are we getting from our leaders? They are not giving us a conversation to vote for them. All they're giving us is bacchanal, bad talk, costly opposition, insult everybody.
Because they know, Mr. Alonszo, we don't take nothing serious. We don't take nothing serious. Some of us in Trinidad, we don't. So they're giving me what we want. So,
well, people, we went late. I know. I see Mr. Alonszo like at the end of the day, he does start up. He does start up when the show done pass the time already. I don't know either. Mr. Alonszo, I would like you to have that same enthusiasm, that same strength. Don't give me it in the third hour. You understand? Right now we on stockage time. The third hour we on stockage time, and I need you to have. Yeah, I want you to have that same energy, that same drive. I want you to have that energy. Nah, I know you're alive. I feel it inside of you. I mean, you activate a little late. You understand? The next time when you come to that, just tell me I go give you a bottle of babash to go up there with. Before you come on the program, I want you to take a drink. I want you to start to talk plain, just so you tell me. I want you to activate early.
I'm not a drinker, but I want to say.
So the people at Trinidad and Tobago, I mean, you know, we went off a little bit, but something strange happened. We had a little technical difficulty. Yes, just at the end of the program, just so as we say, we go on Candice. I see it would have shoot up by 100. You see what was going here? You see what was going here? I know they're employing the jammers here, you know, but the truth will always prevail. Don't get tired. You don't need nothing. You don't need nothing to add with the truth. All you have to do is just turn it loose. So at the end of the day, hey, my partner online, man, he said it's only rum shop talk. With politics, it's true. Everybody's slinging mud. This one talking about this. No, we want to hear policies. We want to hear what's taking place. We want to hear the same question Candice would have asked Roger Monroe. What is taking place for the youths? That is what we want to hear. We want to hear true politics. We don't want to hear no rum shop talk. We want to be a part of this whole situation. The young people want to fight. But if politics remain a thing that every time you come and say something, you come and say, you know Candice, she get a contract. She's a UNC. We're in search help. She before, that's why she talking that kind of thing. And not looking at what she's saying, the quality of words that is coming out from her mouth. So at the end of the day, this is the Workers' Rights Platform, people. My name is Venison Jeffrey. We are Candice and Wayne Alonszo. I see Candice don't want to go into bed already. Let me give you that time to go into bed. Camera start to fall, all kind of thing. Wayne,
yes, I don't know, the stand started to give trouble.
Wayne is a man started to think, Wayne, I give you a drink of babash when you come down here. When you come down here, I want you to talk just like that. I'm giving you some babash, the first drop. I ain't giving you nothing, I'm giving you first drop. That is how we just drink down in
the... Give me that drink, you give me that drink, I ain't talking, I'm going to be singing, glory.
Right, so it's is that, so to you, the people at Trinidad and Tobago, thanks for holding out so long with us so we could have this important discussion. I know the people there not distracting oil. We know Slimy, like he getting a contract right about now to say everything adverse in concerning the UNC at this point in time. He getting a contract. Inside football, he's an next little fool that at the end of the day, his head stick in his hand and he bottom up in the air. And the PNM sodomizing him. That is what going on here with inside football. Because these are people at the end of the day benefiting from this failed government in Trinidad and Tobago. You can't tell me it didn't fail. 640 murders last year, over 80 this year already. You can tell me this government didn't fail. There is evidence concerning that. So at the end of the day, Candace, Wayne Alonszo, I mean, we heading out. Any last words before we close off this chapter here tonight?
Well, we would have given our last words.
We had the last word a half an hour ago, so I would segue and give our listeners some energy to come back to meet with us next week, Tuesday. We are making every effort to keep this going, and we want to encourage you guys that the people who you believe that need to get this information, especially a PNM friend, we are not trying to create a program to have people just listening to the choir, you know. We don't want to preach to the choir, my apologies. We want people who have a difference in opinion, but they're courageous enough to sit in, because if you have information that is bothering you that you don't agree with, you have the right to leave, but you're not leaving. So evidently you know what you're getting is good food, right? But you're just being rebellious, and this is why you're in this situation, and this is why we continue to have failed governance in this country, because your stubbornness, that desire to be more of the same, because they make you hate something that doesn't look like you so much that you are hurting even your children you are hurting. And all we're trying to do is to get you to think outside the box. Start loving people. Start seeing that there are other people who care about you sometimes more than your own. And that is what we are trying to do here. We know that the UNC and all that, we read every day how much issues that is taking place in their party. But you know why that is a non-issue? Because the persons who have their issue with the UNC is only one vote they have. Don't worry about their title and, oh, Mr. this and Mr. that, leave. They only have one vote. This is the time of your life. Once every 5 years, when they prorogue parliament, all citizens become equals. Your vote matters more to them than their vote matter to you, because you are the one who give them reign over your resource. So that is why they run out to kiss, according to Mr. Renison, your baby, your dog, your cat, and everything. Your vote matters. Choose wisely. That's all I'm saying. So have a good night, folks. I appreciate the opportunity.
Alonszo, I have something for them to kiss. It's not a dog, it's not a cat. I have something for them to kiss. I want you to come by me. I have something for you to kiss. I have something for them to kiss. If they want to kiss something, I have something for you to kiss. Candace, we have to say in closing.
Tonight was a very interesting night. Although I was real hot and angry and bothered there, but the last caller, he would have made my afternoon. And he would have given me the inspiration and remind me why I am here doing what I am doing. And tonight it was good. And I want to say thanks to all the viewers, even to Mr. Slimy, you know, because when you work as Mr. Slimy had a lot of contribution to make, and you two are welcome. So we love having you on, and don't be a stranger, Mr. Slimy and Mr. what's his name? Something football or whatever.
Football is a coward. He's a coward.
And listen to me. The fact that as Mr. Alonszo said, the fact that they are still here is because what we are doing, it's important. And these fellas, they wouldn't really stay on something that is not exciting. So they like the challenge, and they too are welcome to view our program next week, Tuesday. Right? And the last thing is that people have to start to think on their own. You have to think about your future, because things is not going to get any easier. I tell you, it started bother my mind now. I started to be frightened. I started to ask myself questions. What's going to happen to my children? At one point in time in the day, it started overwhelming that, I shed a tear. I was like, what really going on, boy? The place of a gloominess, it of a darkness. And we, the citizens, we had to wake up. We have to wake up. Is either now or never. This is all I have to say for the night.
Well, thank you for being on the chat here, Candice, and you too, Wayne Alonszo. I mean, at the end of the day, go with God.
Well, boys, God will cover we know. Thank you very much. Have a pleasant night.
Yes, good night. Good night to you.
Have a good night, y'all.
Now, to you, the many people that are outside here that would have listened to us thus far. Now, what was said here on this live here tonight is views and perspective from many of us that share actually the same views on things that is taking place within our country. And at the end of the day, we urge, you see, as a man, as a person, a matter of fact, a single unit that is not afraid of anyone. The only person I fear is Almighty God. I am not, a matter of fact, feel that there is something that I should do. I'm thinking that, this is something that I should do. I know at the end of the day, the suffering that exists within my community, I would have taken a conscious decision as to stand up and speak out. And this program here is to encourage you, the many viewers, the many of you that are outside here, to speak out too in like manner. Because at the end of the day, we have thousands and thousands of information that is logged here on this platform, that anytime we let loose with some of the things that are outside here, it could cause serious discomfort to certain people. Right now, certain information we are vetting, because at the end of the day, yes, at that time we run out and we pelt out certain information, and at the end of the day, we was severely retributed for it by the courts of Trinidad and Tobago. And at the end of the day, to defend yourself, because they would have put these matters within the court system, to defend yourself, you have to have money. So it becomes a thing in Trinidad and Tobago that if you are poor, those that are well rooted and grounded with finances, they are going to take you out in Trinidad and Tobago. Just to answer a question to turn you into a pauper, that $20,000 and $30,000 that you might have saved up for a car, just by talking your mind, you might have to spend all of that. By talking your mind in Trinidad and Tobago, you might have to move out. By talking your mind in Trinidad and Tobago, you might lose your work. By having the potential to command authority within the public domain, you could lose your work. You could be treated within a particular way, and I could tell you that my good friend was treated this way, in that form, just because the man have thousands of followers on YouTube, on TikTok. No, not YouTube, on Facebook, on TikTok, and on WhatsApp. One of the fastest growing group that is ricocheting all through Trinidad and Tobago. A letter was sent, and that is what has taken place here within Trinidad and Tobago. Every time you command attention within the public domain, you become a serious threat in this country. And with that, I say it all. You know why you become a threat? I want you to understand why at the end of the day. I want you to understand why.
To start with.
You think that would help?
No, we need somebody who could look down to the littlest man.
Understand?
Because everybody go in power studying the family and the self. When they say we selling weed, they saying they want to kill we. But what you want we to do again?
To try to create opportunities.
So you're going to try to bridge a gap between the rich and the poor?
Well, that is so cliched. I'm not really trying to interfere with the bridge between the rich and the poor because there's nothing wrong with the rich getting richer.
For me, I think the young people in power.
I'm not really trying to interfere with the bridge between the rich and the poor because there's nothing wrong with the rich getting richer. But the poor must come out of poverty. I'm not really trying to interfere with the bridge between the rich and the poor because there's nothing wrong with the rich getting richer.
For me, I think the young people in power. The young people in power. The young people in power. The young people in power.
I'm not really trying to interfere with the bridge between the rich and the poor because there's nothing wrong with the rich getting richer.
The young people in power. The young people in power.
Corruption in point 14. I want you to know the extent of it. Well, you know, I thought a SAP alone has ship of contract. It was brought to my knowledge that the whole PNM executive, which is located behind the market, have ship of contract. It wasn't brought to my attention that the current mayor, Mr. James, is the chairman on the executive committee. It was also brought to me he have a secret contract also, plus other things. Yeah. So why all these iniquities happening under our MP Richard Watch? It is also alleged, brought to my attention that the contractor that is building the Fanny, that completed the Fanny Village Primary School and building the fire station from Vancouver side, brought a Prada for our MP, Mr. Richard, and it is hiding at the moment by some fat man. If this is true, these people not fit the whole office.
Now, the message there was clear and precise. And we would have shown you the intentions that this government have for you, the people of Trinidad and Tobago. And the fight we are fighting here is one of logic and not emotion. And if it's any emotion that we are putting out here is for you to get uncomfortable and agitated and angry with what is taking place here in this country, and you ain't getting no explanation, no proof, nothing of the sort. And that is the reason why Smiley me afraid you. But for the sake of peace on the panel, at the end of the day, I keep the conversation within a particular realm. It's not about fear. It's not about I'm afraid to play no voice note. Let me tell you one time, that is something I fear. And if you have your facts, bring out your facts. What I will do, a matter of fact, What I will do here today, if you had the testicular fortitude, I, Redison Jeffrey, is going to invite you on a live broadcast here with us. That is how brave I is. And at the end of the day, I will bring you facts. I don't afraid none of my accusers. That is how serious it is. So I will send the link to you. I will send the link to you and join us. Join me, a matter of fact, not us. But join me if you had the testicular fortitude to stand in this ring here, on this platform here, on the workers' rights platform. I see you always antagonizing all kind of people throughout all different chat. Just let it be known that I fear no man. And if it is that you are outside the country and you are trying to sway voters in a particular direction that you at the end of the day, but I am here to stand up for the people within my country, the people within my community, my friends, my family, and not even that, even self my enemies. So I put in all the challenge to you. If you had the testicular fortitude, you answer that call. I go set the date and the time, and we are going to come with this. Your cookie dead. So good night to the many of you that are outside there, that are taking in this broadcast. Right, well, I see the challenge accepted, and I'm going to send the link to you. Let us discuss time and date. If you are the testicular fortitude. So my friends, my family, everybody that tuned in, Sabaro, good job, keep it up. You understand? Keep bringing the news there for the people. Candace, Sheldon, Can, everybody. We have some tape to play in the morning. We are going to drop some videos concerning a particular incident that would have taken place today, but I just didn't get any time. So tomorrow, please the Lord, look out, look out. Smiley, man, you're dead, boy. Winfred. Right. Winfred at all. So tune in next Tuesday, and we are coming with the truth, the facts, the whole facts. And it's that.